Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. This beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning. Text your friends, share this live stream. We're going to be with you for 3 whole hours today. Of course, not me on screen. That would be pretty doggone boring. But we've got an exciting lineup for you all across the state of Oklahoma with individuals that will talk to you about how important the census is, how important registering to vote is. We'll talk about social activism. It's just a day that we want to devote some time and energy to being really good stewards in our community, to be really good placeholders for the future to come, to do what we have to do to make sure that our cities and our town and our state and this country is really the kind of country that we all want to live in, a fair and a just and an equitable society, one where everybody's voice is heard and everybody counts. Because everybody does count and everybody needs to be counted. My name is Angela Monson. I have the wonderful opportunity to work with Together Oklahoma, and that the name of this group, this organization, this entity really says a lot about being together. We are Oklahoma and we have to be together so that we can make sure that this state in this country and our communities really, as I said earlier, are the kinds of places that we all want to live. And we want our families to live and our grandkids and those to come after. So Together Oklahoma is sponsoring this event today. That is an entity of Oklahoma Policy. It's a great organization based in Tulsa, but that has really a national reach, but that is able to develop policy statements and do the research that helps inform really good decisions that are decisions that benefit people. So I'm just happy to be associated with Together Oklahoma, to be associated with Oklahoma Policy, to be associated with all these organizations and entities that we're going to highlight today. We're going to come to you live from Ardmore, Oklahoma, from Lawton, Oklahoma. We're going to come live to you from Oklahoma City, multiple locations, hopefully Spencer, Oklahoma. And we're going to talk to people who are out there right now, today, live, in the field, trying to get you to complete your census. If you have not done so, today is a good opportunity to do so. We're going to scroll all through the day, places and ways that you can complete your census. You can go to one of these places, interact with individuals, complete your census, register to vote, pick up a food box if necessary. We know these are hard times for a lot of Oklahomans, and the little help and the assistance that we can give one to another is really important. And sometimes that one little box of extra food goes a long way to make sure that our children can eat. For those of you who didn't know, Oklahoma ranks at the top in the country in the number of children who go hungry. We still are at the bottom in the nation of our number of individuals and households that are being counted through the census. So we have a whole lot of work to do. Unfortunately, we rank at the bottom part in things that make it hard for families, and we rank in the high part, incarceration. We're going to even talk to people about prison ministry and incarceration in Oklahoma. So we got to get counted. We got to register to vote. We got to support one another. So it's important to be together. And I'll give you little tidbits of information as we go along, but I just want to get ready to bring in our first virtual guest this morning at our Census Brunch. We're going to come to you live from the Fairview Baptist Church in Oklahoma City, where Reverend John A. Reed is the pastor, and my friend Teresa Hill is the Social Action Ministry chair. It's a great congregation. It's been, I guess, a foundational institution, not just for Northeast Oklahoma City and African Americans, but for all of the city and all of this state. And I'm so pleased to introduce my friend, Ms. Deborah Davis, who is the on-site reporter reporter. She's going to tell us more about what's going on there at Fairview, maybe talk to a few folk and describe their engagement in this whole social action movement. Good morning, Deborah.
Good morning, Miss Monson. First of all, thank you so much for having us here today. We are just so excited. We have had an extraordinary time here at the Fairview Baptist Church this morning. So many initiatives going on. We had our Fishes and Loaves ministry giving away food in our food giveaway. There was a great turnout. And then, along with our social action ministry, we have gone out and asked people if they were registered to vote. We conducted census to see if people had filled out the census. So it has been a great morning because we know that the only way we can make change in our community is if we do our part and advocate for people to make that positive change. And I'm an educator in the Oklahoma City Public School District. And as an educator, I'm trying to do my part with the census and allow my students to know, especially a lot of my Hispanic students, that this is not a census based on citizenship, which is what they thought it was all about, but encouraging them to let them know that their parents don't have to worry about that. It's based on residence and being counted. So we just had a great time here this morning. We have
Where do
some
you
special
teach?
ladies
Deborah,
with
where
us
do you
here.
teach school? Where do you teach?
I am a teacher at Northwest Classroom High School, best high school on the planet in Oklahoma City. That's where I am. Been there for the past 28 years. This is my 29th year.
Thank you for being a teacher. Thank you for your service. Show us around. What's going on there at
All
Fairview?
right, so most of the food drive now they have finished, but we had tons of people here this morning, but we still have people left from some ladies, very special ladies here this morning, who are going to come to you and tell you a little about some things that they have coming up and share some info with you. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and here they are.
Good morning, Angela.
Good morning. Glad you're with us.
Yeah, I'm Tricia Woodward with the 2020 Census, and I am so pleased to have been invited to experience Fairview's food pantry. It was, as she said, an awesome event. There were hundreds of cars and people, and we interacted with them. I provided them with the phone number to if they have not completed their census, and that number is 1-844-468. No, that was the Spanish number.
We got that on screen, that English number.
You got the screen? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. So they could do it online or by phone. And if they have your census form that was left on the door or you received in the mail and you finally found it, it's not too late. Your date for completion has been extended, but right now we want you to do it now. So we can't give you it's good
That's
until,
right.
But right now you have an opportunity to bring dollars, your federal dollars that was sent to the federal government back to Oklahoma for the next 10 years to address our issues for our schools, our children, for our churches, for our hospitals. And the African American community has been undercounted, not because of the failure of the Census Bureau, but the failure of our community to receive the information about the census as being factual. So we can be counted or not, but when we are counted, it provides so many services for us. WIC, is that right one? WIC is one
That's
of them.
right, WIC.
And SNAP and any other services that are provided to you, you'd be surprised. I was at the neighborhood service organization, and they give food away every day. So I don't know if you have to be a membership there, but they provided the census with an opportunity to engage people who come to receive those services. And they get funding. So there are grant monies available for nonprofit organizations to assist our communities, and we need to take advantage of it. So I would count completing your census in direct correlation to registering and voting on the election day. That's how you can impact your community. That's how you bring dollars and better service, better roads.
That's right.
And an opportunity for our young people to grow in our community. So thank you, Angela, for what you do. I am very pleased, like I said, to have been here. It was kind of early, but hey, it's a beautiful day in Oklahoma. So come on out, go to the, I'm going to be down on 23rd Street. Are you going to talk
That's
about
right.
that?
Promo that. Guys,
23rd.
Patricia, you may not have heard, but the young lady who's speaking right now actually works for the 2020 census, and she spent probably a year of her life devoted to trying to get folk counted, and she's going to leave and head them out to Northeast 23rd and Martin Luther King, where they're actually going to be registering voters and completing census forms out there. They're starting, that's the AME churches. They're going to start, I think, around 11 this morning. We're going to promo places and that people can go and be counted and registered to vote all day long. It's not just happening in Oklahoma, it's happening all over the country. Patricia, thank you for your service. You are a wonderful friend, committed community volunteer in many other ways and other organizations. And we're just glad to have you part of the Oklahoma City community.
Thank you, and I'm glad to be here. God bless.
Thank you. Going to turn it back to Deborah.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Woodward, here from the U.S. Census Bureau. This has been a great effort. And I think finally people are realizing the importance of the census, and that if we want to make a change in our community and the representatives that we get and all of those great things that we are sometimes underrepresented for,
That's
that
right.
you have to fill out the census. Next, we're going to have speak to us the infamous Judge Alicia Timmons, and she's going to come to you now with some insight.
Good afternoon. Good morning, Angela Monson. How
Good
are you?
morning. I'm great.
To hear from you. Good to see you.
It's just a wonderful surprise. It's great to see you. I'm glad you're here. Tell us, talk to us, give us some, not just kernels of wisdom, but huge nuggets of wisdom.
All right. I enjoyed coming this morning, watching Fairview in action. Great Pastor Reed, who spearheads this project, and my good friend Teresa Hill, who has always been a social mover and shaker and community activist. So she called me, and I talked to her, and she said she was going to be out here. So I got up this morning, because when Teresa calls, I go. I got up this morning, and we did census outreach and voter registration outreach, in addition to the food giveaway. And I want to talk about voting for just a moment. It is a critical and crucial revolutionary action. And so I want to encourage people to do so. I want to give some information. There have been some things going around that you have to have an ID to vote. If you have an ID, that's fine, but you don't need an ID to vote in Oklahoma. You can say, I don't have an ID, and fill out a provisional ballot, and they will count that ballot. I looked at some of the statistics on whether or not they throw those out in Oklahoma. I think they threw out maybe 1% of them, and that was because people had voted in the wrong precinct or they weren't registered to vote at all. So don't worry about having an ID. If you have an ID, that's fine. If you have your voter registration card, take that with you, and that's sufficient. If you're asked for an ID and you don't want to give it, then tell them you don't want to give it to them and fill out a provisional ballot. Those are counted, and there's a high rate of accuracy with those. And so get ready to vote. You can vote the Thursday and Friday before the election from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and then on Saturday before the election from 9 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. So those are early absentee voting opportunities that we should not miss. And if all else fails, you can go to the polls on the Tuesday of the election and vote, and you have 3 hours where you can take off from your job. That's allowed by law. Tell your employer the day or two beforehand so they can make sure that your employment is covered or people are there to take your spot while you go vote. And you have the right under Oklahoma law to take, I think I'll say 2, maybe 3 hours the day of the election to vote. And I need to check on that, but I think it's at least 2 hours off to vote. And that's allowed by law. So any other questions anybody else has for me on that?
Well, Teresa, we're just I'm sorry, Alicia. Judge Timmons, I am just so honored to have you join us today and to share the information about voting, about the importance of the census. I've known, and I'll call her Alicia because she's my friend. She was my friend before she was a judge, and she has been a committed community activist as well. And I said earlier today, us coming together to do census and to do voter registration is really, I want to say the beginning, but it's the continuation of this movement that we must sustain and maintain in our communities across Oklahoma. So those people who are listening, do your census, register to vote, and join an organization. Together Oklahoma, we're reactivating the Oklahoma City chapter. There are chapters across the state. Google them, look online, join the NAACP, go to your church, Fairview's great social action committee. Do something that makes a difference. Judge Timmons, thank you for being a wonderful example of what it means to be committed, to be aware, as the kids say, to be woke, and to do it with fairness and justice and with integrity. We appreciate you. Deborah, thank you very much. Deborah, you there? Hey, girl, you've done a fine job this morning.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
God.
And also, I just want to thank Judge Timmons for giving us her insight on voting, because voting is so important. If we don't vote, then we don't have a voice. It's easy to complain, but if we don't go out to the polls and vote, that's where true change happens. And I just also want to give a shout out this morning, once again, to our social action director, Miss Teresa Hill, who is the director of our ministry. She always makes sure that our church is at the forefront of making sure that things are done in our community and getting everybody involved. So kudos, Teresa. All right.
Yay, Teresa.
All right. Our next guest this morning is Reverend Christine Bird, and she's going to come and tell you about some exciting news that she has going on upcoming at her church.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Senator
Christine.
Angela Monson. It is good to hear and see you again. It's been a long time. I want to, first of all, as speakers before me, give kudos to Fairview, to the leadership of this great church, Pastor John Reed. I'm sorry, I apologize. And then also to my friend Teresa Hill, the Social Action Chair. I want to tell you about a upcoming event coming next week in partnership with Ebenezer Baptist Church, Pastor Derek Scobie, myself being pastor of New Life Baptist Church here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. On next week, next Thursday and Friday, we will continue our efforts to give out food boxes. On Thursday, we'll be giving them out at Kip Elementary at 8500 North Robinson, Northwest Oklahoma City. Many of you know that area as North Highland area, the old North Highland Elementary School. That will begin on Thursday at about 9 o'clock. The one good thing about these boxes, and we are excited, it will be a one box. It will weigh between 35 and 40 pounds. It will have dairy, produce, fruits, but then it will also have a meat product in it. Then on Friday at Ebenezer Baptist Church at 3700 North Kelly, we will be there again, giving out about 1,400 boxes, starting at about 9 o'clock. This is open to the public. Anyone can come. We're going to give boxes out until they are gone. This is not a giveaway. This is a blessing. We want to make sure that everyone within our community is blessed by this. And this program came about through the leadership of Pastor Reed at the National Baptist Convention, his relationship with World Vision, and that he connected Pastor Scobie. And so this is how this program came about. So we are so thankful for it. Let me thank Pastor Reed, John Reed. Let me thank Teresa Hill. But let me thank so many of you and the ladies that I've had the opportunity to work with this morning. It has been so exciting. The census, the voter registration, our community, if we don't have,
that's right,
it's our problem.
That's right.
Register to vote. Fill out your census form. That determines how much money goes into our community and our neighborhood. So again, thank you, Fairview. Thank you, Pastor Reed. Thank you, Teresa Hill. We will see you either at HIP next Thursday, HIP 9 o'clock next Thursday, 8500 North Robinson, or if you can't make it Thursday, come to Ebenezer Baptist Church, 3700 North Kelly, 9 o'clock on Friday. God bless you. God keep you. And everyone, wear your mask, sanitize your hand, be safe. And then I can't end without saying, give God the glory, and let's pray our way out of this.
Amen, sister. Thank you, my friend Kristen Bird, another social activist. I don't know how you guys got all these folks together. Back to you, Deborah.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. I want to say thank you once again to Reverend Bird. New Life is on the scene and doing great things. So thank you so much for your support in the community. And then we're going to wrap this up with Miss Teresa Hill, the orchestrator of all of this.
I just want to say thank you, Angie, for having us a part of your program. I'm not the one who likes to speak. Deborah is our speaker, but I just wanted to say thank you, and we appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this program. Thank you so much, and I'm going to let Deborah close for you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Right. Once again, we just want to say thank you for the opportunity. This has been a great event. I'm so happy and thrilled that I was able to take part in, and it's going to be an event that I'll never forget. And I hope that a positive change comes from all of this.
Thank you. You did a fantastic job. Yay, Fairview.
Hey, Deborah.
Yay. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Teresa. You guys, all these women, you guys did a fantastic job. Keep the faith and keep working. It does make a difference.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
That just shows you what a few people organized, committed, ready to work can do. And we're doing it all over the state. We're doing it all over the country. I just appreciate the work of Teresa Hill and all of the Fairview Baptist Church members and Reverend Reed for always being active. And it requires us to be active to make a change. And if you want to make a change in your own personal financial situation, you can be active and do something by simply, commenting. And you have to comment in Facebook. I think you have to go to the Facebook streaming page to be able to comment, to enter for a chance of a virtual gift card. We're going to give a $50 gift card away here just after we visit with some folk in Lawton. So we're leaving Oklahoma City. We're going all the way to Lawton, where there's a huge event occurring. We can see some pictures, whoever that is. Jacoby, if that's you, turn that phone horizontally if you can, and we can get a wider view. This is the Lawton Rock the Vote event. I can't hear you if you can hear me. Jacoby or Brandy, welcome. There's a lot going on across the state. Jacoby, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Let me turn my camera for you so you can see me.
All right. So you know how to do a selfie. I know you know how to do those selfies. There he is. And turn it the other way, Jacoby, so we can see the bigger screen. There you go. Perfect.
How's everybody doing today?
Hey, you're doing great. Everybody, this is Jacoby. Jacoby is one of those Together Oklahoma organizers, a guitar player, a social activist. He understands the importance of change and the census. So, Jacoby, talk to us. What's going on in Lawton this morning?
So today we're having the Rock the Vote event here at Patterson Center. This center is one of the oldest centers here in the city of Lawton, with a predominantly African-American and minority community surrounded within this particular center itself. We're right across the street from the historical Douglas High School, which was an all-black high school before the integration here for Lawton Public Schools. So we know that these particular communities are undercounted. So we thought it would be a great effort to have a big event and concerns towards rocking the vote and getting people registered to vote and also filling out their census. We have census workers here. We have the city of Lawton here. We have young professionals here. We got women that vote is here. We got Together Oklahoma that's here. We got Brandon PR that's here. So many different organizations that are here to push this particular message. Right now, they're doing the final, just kind of hurrah moment of just kind of saying good job. We still got a few more days to fight and things like that. But this is a phenomenal event. It was organized beautifully by Mrs. Brandy Sims. She's at the moment she's talking, so I'm gonna let her talk, and then when I get her to pull her to the side, we can have a brief interview or conversation about it.
All right, that's good. Well, I know that there were a whole lot of organizations involved in the Rock the Vote event there in Lawton, right?
Yes.
Talk to us
There's a
about
lot.
some of those entities that were involved with you.
Yeah, so you had, for example, I said the city of Lawton, young professionals of Lawton. City of Lawton has taken a stance and a position on making sure the importance of getting people, number one, registered to vote. This is a big thing. And then the second thing is getting people to fill out their census. We thought it was very important for that effort to be pushed in this particular year. We understand it's an important election, but we also understand that in order for our community to continue to move forward and progress in a positive level, we have to make sure that individuals are counted in the right direction. Are counted. I think I got Miss Brandy. I'm gonna get her on the screen so she can talk a little bit more about this particular event itself. I've been here, been seeing a lot of people coming through, and we're gonna get Miss Brandy to come in real quick. Yeah,
All right.
I think they can see you.
Brandy. Hi,
Oh,
Brandy.
she can't hear you, but I'll give you.
Kobe must have a headset
Yeah.
on. Yeah. Hi, Brandy. Okay, Kobe.
All right, we got the mic there
Yeah.
too. Whoa.
Yeah.
Left ear here. Once we find the right ear, we'll be in there. Hello.
Good
How are
morning. Good morning,
you?
Miss Brandy. I'm good. How are you this morning?
Doing pretty good. How are
Oh,
you?
can't complain. This is an exciting day. We're promoting getting registered to vote, completing that census, being a social activist, doing something to make our communities better. And that's what you guys are doing right there, right now in Wanton. Talk to us about Rock the Vote. What is it? Who's involved? What are you trying to achieve? And tell us maybe even a little more about yourself.
Well, absolutely. So, Rock the Vote voter drive is the first time that we're introducing this to the community through both our local and state organizations. Based here, we organize this event really to give back to our community and also provide an opportunity for them to get registered to vote, but also to complete their census response. We have illegal women voters involved. We have Together OK, of course, involved. We've also got young professionals of Lawton, my brand, Branding PR, as well as a host of other organizations that are here to provide these resources and help to connect voters or really residents to voter information. So we're definitely really happy with the turnout that we've received. We still got a whole another hour. And thus far, we've gotten dozens of people coming in to not only get registered, but also to complete their census.
All right, got a whole nother hour. What's the flow been like this morning?
Oh, definitely. It's been very transient, but that's exactly how we organize the event. The purpose is to get them in the door, get them sitting down, talk about whatever it is that they're having struggles with, or honestly find out if they are registered to vote, and then go through the process with them. We've had many folks that have had questions about mail-in voting, absentee ballots, different questions like where are their polling locations now that they've updated their addresses, and just general information that is very helpful and useful for them. So we definitely were very excited to have as many volunteers involved with the event to be able to support and staff and to basically be able to give back and answer these questions for these residents that have come in. But it's been very transient, great flow. We've had a good amount of folks that have come through, definitely in the dozens that have come in here and just sat down and really worked with our representatives to get registered and complete their responses.
I see you guys, you and Jacoby both mask up out there.
Oh,
So,
yes.
Yeah, you
you
already
know,
know.
the corona
Very
is
important.
alive and well. It really
Yes.
is. But do you guys, have you seen great impact in Lawton in terms of voter registration or census completion as a result of the pandemic?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, we have. And
Yeah, yes. I think that in general, we have some other events that are going on throughout the city that are also focusing on voter registration and also filling out the census. I know our Samoan community and other communities throughout within our city itself have also focused on those particular efforts. I think it's important at this time frame that particular communities, minority communities, go in and focus, directly within their community and try to make sure that each and every person is accounted for, each and every person is registered to vote, because as we know, this election is very important. And as we also know, the census is also very important in the aspects of bringing federal dollars towards our particular communities and making sure that these continual programs continue to serve our communities in the best way so that our people can be successful for years to come.
All right. That is absolutely correct. Sometimes things are really hard. I was at an event last night and people were using words to describe how they felt about the times, and they used words like depressed or
Yeah.
angry or mad or frustrated. And I sat there and I listened and I thought, every time I see things on TV or it's kind of always in your face. All I can think about, and the word that I use is peace, and that seems like contradictory, but it's really not. I mean, things are so chaotic now.
Right.
I have to focus on peace, but
Right.
peace doesn't happen by itself.
Right.
We have to do
hmm
something. We have to
Yeah.
work
Absolutely.
together to do
Yeah.
something.
hmm
So let's maybe if people from Martin are listening, and I'm gonna stretch just a little bit because I want to give people a chance to enter for these virtual gift cards too.
Yeah.
Calling
Oh,
right after
absolutely.
this. So $50 gift card coming up right after we get through talking to our friends in Lawton. But if people are looking for opportunities in Lawton, Jacoby, both of you, to engage and do something, be involved in positive change in their communities. What are some of those opportunities that they can participate in?
Well, to begin with, I mean, they can always get connected with my business, Branding PR. Part of my organization is that we represent brands and more specifically image management of public figures and larger organizations. So we already have kind of an ear to the streets, if you will. We make it a point to stay involved and active in the community that we serve. So that is one step. The next step I would take, getting linked up with folks like myself, getting linked up with Jacoby, and being able to connect with those that are movers and shakers, I guess you can say, in the community that are actively involved in multiple different organizations and projects. Between myself and Jacoby, we're involved in not only young professionals of Lawton, but we're also involved in other civic groups within this community. So we make it a point to do that again because we want to stay as active and involved, but we also want to make sure that we are providing that education and that resource to those that may not have those connections to be able to do so.
Great, Brandy. I'm glad you mentioned Brandy PR. I mean, golly,
Yes.
you might as well get a promo in there
Yeah.
for the world to hear a young entrepreneur, right? Right there in the community. Uh,
Absolutely, yes.
so, guys, take her up on her offer, get involved, learn more, and young people who might be listening, be just like Brandy. Jacoby, tell us a little more about the Together Oklahoma chapter.
Well, here in Together Oklahoma chapter, we're active within the community by far. We try to make sure that we are doing as much as possible. Just yesterday, we had some members come out, go out and help put door hangers on doors for the census, just to make sure in some certain communities or low income communities that we thought we're not responding to the particular census efforts. That was one of the final pushes to kind of go and make sure that we're still able to connect with that. So here in our chapter in general, we've been able to connect and join different facilitated events that are going on throughout our community itself, and then also bring in our own TOK flavor. You know how we are. We bring in the flavor. We can help you out in a lot of different ways. If you want to join Together Oklahoma chapter, you can contact me at J Crowley at togetherok.org. That's my email address. Hit me up, Jacoby. I want to be a part. I want to volunteer, and I promise you, I'll get you connected with the next event that we have going on throughout our community, regardless if Together Oklahoma is actually doing the event or if we are actually moving in the direction of just helping out and partnering with organizations like Brandy's organization or Young Professionals of Lawton or the City of Lawton organization or Women That Vote. Regardless of what's going on, we're still going to make sure that we are bringing our efforts to move in the right direction because we all want to stay on that same vision, that same plan, so we can all get to the finish line at the end. So I'm pretty excited about how Lawton came out today, just in general of coming together, especially these organizations. I'm pretty excited about that. I think that it is even more opportunity for us to continue to grow as a city and as a community, and we are an example city for other cities throughout our state to look and see, hey, Lawton's coming together, we need to come together too.
I think you two are just a great example of what coming together looks like. Jacoby gave his email address, and Jessica streamed it. We're going to show it again. So if you're in Lawton, there's another opportunity to engage with Together Oklahoma. We really, really, really appreciate everything that everybody is doing in Lawton. And again, we're just going to say comment, because we're getting ready to give that $50 gift card. But I want to give Brandy, you and Jacoby an opportunity for any last encouraging remarks. We'd appreciate you taking the time. And I hope you have a little more time just to give us a few final encouraging remarks.
Oh, absolutely. Would definitely love to share. Just want to remind folks that, we have a right as citizens to vote, and we have to exercise that right. This year is going to be more crucial than any to mobilize and activate ourselves. So when you think of going to these polling stations, don't forget, think of your friends, think of your family. Is there anyone in my household that may not be registered, that could be registered to vote? Better yet, for census response, has that been completed? It's so important that we complete these types of responses because it is funding that goes back to our community. So just remember that, your voice does matter and your vote matters. And how we use our voice is directly impacted by our vote. So get out there, vote, tell a friend, and complete your census response.
That's right. Jacoby, great, Brandy. Jacoby, your comments.
Hey, just make sure you are doing your part in this time frame to make sure that we're on the right direction in 10 years from now. I think it is very important that if you register to vote or if you fill out your census or whatever you do within this pandemic time frame, if you do not do anything, you're going to be subject of nothing. But if you do something, you will have something to gain in the years to come. So I believe that when people fill out their census, you will you're seeing communities be able to move in that right direction. And once people start registering to vote, you will start seeing people in the right office that are able to move things in the right direction. So it's a positive slate on both sides. I'm excited because I know that more and more people are getting understanding and getting behind the message and moving in the right direction so that we can all live a prosperous life and our communities can be even more greater than what they are.
That's absolutely right. You said it. Make it better than it is. Make our communities better than they are. I have a friend that used to always say, his mission was to leave it better than he found it.
Found it. Yep. That's how it is.
That's a critical responsibility for all of us. Hey, we're gonna thank you both again for your hard work, for your commitment to the town of the city of Lawton. Thank you for being great role models, for engaging folk, and really thank you for spending some time with us on this great Saturday morning. Let's go forth and continue to do good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Brandy. Bye. All right, folks, it's time for somebody to win a virtual $50 gift card. Jessica closes her eyes and puts her finger on her computer screen or scrolls names real fast, and wherever it stops, it's kind of like the Wheel of Fortune, or what are those games? Who knows? Wherever it stops, if it stops on your name, you're the winner. Make sure you respond to Jessica's request for information so we can get your gift card to you. So Jessica, whenever you're ready, Jessica's going to pop a name up on hey, Cheryl Roberts. You are the winner of the first gift card this morning. Congratulations, Cheryl. Cheryl Roberts from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We appreciate you joining us, Cheryl. We're going to continue to ask that each of you share this stream. Go on Facebook, go on Twitter, go on YouTube, Together Oklahoma homepage. You can see it there. You can share it with your friends. If you're out there in the world looking at us and got to figure out a way to live stream it on your Facebook page, do so. I don't know all about the technology, but I do know the more people that hear this message, they hear the messages from our guests. And this is not Angela's program. I appreciate all the nice things that have been said about me, but this is not my program. I'm just happy to be a conduit to get the word out. This is an effort of Together Oklahoma, Oklahoma Policy, the people in Lawton, the people in Ardmore, the people at Fairview, the AME churches across the state, the Progressive Oklahoma Baptist Convention, the Oklahoma Baptist State Convention, all of us everywhere working together to make Oklahoma better. And one of those people that's working really, really, really hard down in Ardmore, Oklahoma, and it's not just Ardmore, Roxanne works everywhere. She's one of the hardest working people I know. Committed to social change, committed to registering people to vote, committed to making sure census forms are completed, just doing the right stuff. Roxanne, down in Ardmore, Oklahoma, thanks for joining us. What you got going on today, girl?
Well, today we are standing in front of Casa Romo, the best Mexican place in town. And we're seeing if we can get some people to complete their census.
All right. I wish I was there to have a little lunch with you. Oh, yeah, by the way, this is a brunch. So we're going to ask people to grab some food, a little coffee, got my coffee, and join us. So the census is important. Of course, Roxanne, you've been working this census effort for a long time. What does it mean to you personally to get folk counted?
Oh, excuse me. There are so... I was in the way of some food. Well, you know, the census money goes towards so many different assets of a community. The city uses the census to determine bringing in different businesses, building housing for those businesses, building housing for Section 8 for the homeless, roads, streets. One of my main focuses with the census is in 2010, when we did the census, Oklahoma lost a representative in the United States Congress. And I'm afraid that as if we are undercounted again, we could potentially lose another representative, and we cannot afford to do that.
That's absolutely
because
right.
we're down to 5, and we cannot go down to 4.
That's absolutely right. People don't realize that the count also is used for something that's called reapportionment. You know, the U.S. House of Representatives has a set number of members, but how those members are distributed across the country is based on population. So states like California and Texas and Florida and New York, which are big states have more congressional representation. Of course, we all have 2 U.S. senators, but if Oklahoma's count proportionately goes down relative to the rest of the country, Roxanne is absolutely right. We could lose another congressional representative. I can remember when we had 6. Now we have 5.
Yeah.
And we don't want to have 4 because that means a whole lot of other people in Oklahoma are not represented. So we got to get counted. We got to get counted. You got a good relationship with some census folk down there in Ardmore. Clearly, I see that.
I do. Would you like to speak with one of them?
I certainly would. Let's see.
Okay.
Somebody
Hold
on.
on. And she can kind of tell you how it's been going here.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you, Roxanne.
Okay.
While Roxanne is getting her person
That's
up with
Angela
us.
Monson.
All right.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, how are you? Another just trusty, hardworking United States Census Bureau employee. Thanks for joining us this morning. How have things been going? Thank you. You're very welcome. How have things been going in Ardmore and the other areas that you work?
It's actually gone really well. We had several that completed their census yesterday, and over the week, we probably had more than 100 that have completed their questionnaires.
That's great. People think, oh, that's just a few, a couple here, a couple there. But we know a few here, a few there, 100 here, 100 there makes another 1,000, another 10,000. I was reading a report the other day that said, the Census Bureau considers 99.9% a complete count. I'd like that to be 100%. We're at, in Oklahoma, overall, I was told, about 95%, which people say, oh, that's almost there. But 5% of our population, if we're a state with 3-4 million people, 5% of our population is a whole lot of folk who've not been counted. And that's a whole lot of dollars. We're looking at about $1,800 to $2,000 a year lost for every uncounted person over 10 years. So it's a lot of money and the potential for a lot of representation. Any funny stories you want to share, or serious stories, or anything about your work as a census enumerator?
Nothing that comes to mind right now.
I don't want to put you on the spot. I worked the census back in 1980, probably before you were even born. And there was no technology then. You couldn't do it over your phone, no computers. It was just fill out that form. So people should take advantage of this opportunity now, right? To use the technology. So what's the technology like? Is it hard? Is it easy to use?
It's very, very easy, and it's the only time that we've had 3 different ways to do it. So it makes it easier than ever to get it done, and there's fewer questions than before.
How many questions are there on the basic census?
I think there's 5.
All right. And they ask you things like, how many people live in your house?
The ages and their race is basically it.
So if one census counter told me, just tell me how many people live there. That's important. That fundamentally is important. For our viewers who can tell their friends, it does not ask you your social security number. It does not ask you your citizenship status. The information is sealed. And for personal individual information, it's sealed for 75 years. So, folk like me would be dead and gone before information about me, is available for research. So it's very secure. Unfortunately, people want to make people believe that systems that we have in this country, like voting and like the census, are not secure and not fair. But they are. They are fundamental to our democratic way. And we have to take advantage of that. I thank you for spending time out there in the trenches, working really, really, really hard to get folk counted. And, the floor is yours. If you got any more comments you want to share, please do so.
We just appreciate y'all having us here, and thank you so much for your support. And we're working hard to get it done for you guys.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Roxanne,
Have a great day.
thank you. You do the same. Roxanne, I know you're going some more places today. I mean, there's more things going in Ardmore. And I also know you have an Ardmore, very active Ardmore Together Oklahoma chapter. So let's talk about your Ardmore Together Oklahoma chapter and
Okay.
the things that you do when you meet, and extend an invitation for all of those people, not just in Ardmore, but I imagine your whole county, your whole area to join. So tell us about how folk can get involved.
Right, because actually our chapter is Carter County. So anyone within the Carter County and outside, if they want to, are welcome to come to the meetings. And back when before the pandemic hit, we were trying to meet once a month, and we would have different trainers come in and teach the advocates different ways to talk to their legislators. We visited the Capitol a couple of times. We went up in a bus when we were trying to get health care on the ballot. We went up there and talked to our legislators. We do postcard writing campaigns, and we just try to stay active and keep people involved.
Great. That sounds like a plan. So if people are interested in joining Roxanne and the other members of the Together Oklahoma Carter County chapter, is there an email or a web address? They can always go to Together Oklahoma homepage on any number of social media outlets and learn how to get in touch. And you know, this is about census today. It's about voter registration today, but it really is about being active. There's information about how you can find and join in the work. So please do. Roxanne, you got one more stop, right?
I do. This afternoon, the census people will be at the Ardmore Public Library, and they will be there from 1 o'clock until 5 o'clock. So we will be there this afternoon, and we will be rejoining you.
All right. We will get a chance to see Roxanne this afternoon. You get my vote for the hardest working community organizer activist in the whole wide world. Okay,
well,
Jacoby. If Jacoby's still listening, you know, okay. I didn't really mean that. So
we work hard for what we believe in.
That's right. Thanks, Roxanne. Keep working down there in Carter County, and we'll see you again this afternoon.
All right. I'll see you later.
Thank you. All right, guys. So we've been a little bit in Oklahoma City. We've been down to Lawton. We've been over to Ardmore. We're going to give away another gift card, like right now. So if you are on, looking, listening, watching, make sure you just put your name in for a chance to win that virtual gift card. All you have to do is share this live stream on Facebook, comment on Facebook. You got to comment on Facebook. And that's where the comments were. We had a little difficulty at one of our earlier live streamings where people were saying, I can't comment. And I was told that really Facebook is the best place to submit your comments. And I'm just going to say the more you comment, the greater likelihood or the greater your chances are that you can win this gift card, because if Jessica's closing her eyes picking names and your name is scrolling on that screen a whole bunch, you may be the one. There's the number 2 winner, Pam Ramsey, the second winner of our $50 gift card. Thank you, Pam. We appreciate your efforts as well, and we hope that everybody would stay on, follow Jessica's instructions so we can make sure we get you that gift card. You know, we've talked to people, young folk like Jacoby and Brandy down in Lawton, young people like I consider Roxanne, all those folk at Fairview who are young people. We're probably all in the same generation. But there are a lot of people a lot of really young people who understand, who get it, who want to make a difference, who want to work together here in Oklahoma. And I've had the pleasure of meeting a young man, a young student, Tucker, who is, I think, in the studio with us, who I just want to bring on screen. Hi, Tucker.
Hey, good morning, Angela.
This is Tucker, everybody, and I just think the world of him. I've not known him long, but his commitment and dedication to doing what is right has just been demonstrated every time we get a chance to visit and talk. So, Tucker, thanks for joining us today. Before we get into the meat of a little conversation here, tell us a little about yourself. Where are you from? What are you doing? You're in school, I hear tell, maybe not. I know you're working with students, so whatever you want to share about us, about yourself, tell the world.
Yeah, definitely. So, like Angela said, my name's Tucker. I am from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Very, very proud of where I'm from. And I am a senior at Texas Christian University in Fort Worth. So not physically in Oklahoma right now, but still doing everything I can to help with the census. I'm currently an intern with Oklahoma Policy, which is kind of the larger umbrella that Together Oklahoma is under. So I've been able to work with the organization, be as involved as I can, and really learned just the importance of the census and even why events like this are important, because we're able to get information to people all over the state, even myself who's not in the state right now. So really learning how technology can bring people together and how we can get this thing done.
That's good. So as a young person involved in social change, and I presume as an intern with Oklahoma Policy, you kind of had an awareness of social issues and needs. So as a young person, what do you think are some of the major concerns, major issues that are confronting our communities, this state, this nation at this time?
That's a big question. I think that when it comes to specifically the state of Oklahoma, I think the biggest kind of question that we have is, what are we? Specifically in Tulsa, I was exposed to a lot of this while we were quarantining there in the spring and over the summer. But that is a big question. I think on a macro scale, it's, okay, what are we as a nation? But even what are we as Oklahomans? We were able to really see what our state was. When the president came to Tulsa, a lot of things were exposed about the state that we didn't necessarily know. We found out that more people are maybe politically active than we thought on both sides of the aisle. Furthermore, when we had the Supreme Court decision that came out earlier in the summer too, Oklahomans were again confronted with, what are we? We have this huge and powerful indigenous population here that now has a degree of political power that they didn't have before. And so I think it's an identity thing, Angela. I think that's the biggest thing right now. If I'm thinking about our state and kind of leading to the census is how we figure that out.
Right.
The more accurate of a count we have, the more accurate idea even of just the demographics of the state, where people are living, what they're doing, it can really lead to more effective policy. So I think identity, to answer your question.
So we are an interesting state. Oklahoma has a really, really interesting history that a lot of people don't know. And you're from Tulsa, and you're, I hope that everybody across the state knows about the history of this state, the things that happen, our territorial government, and who was actually a participant, or who participated in our territorial government before we became a state. And the multiculturalism that existed in this state, that really created the state of Oklahoma. And, you're young, and I keep emphasizing that because I want other young people to understand that to be in the know, to be aware, can fuel their desire, their willingness, can motivate their action their involvement and engagement. I want you to be futuristic with me for a moment and describe the kind of state that you'd like to live in. It could be based on all kinds of things, but if you were the czar and could snap some fingers and Oklahoma would be the perfect place to live, what would it look like to you?
That's a great question. I love that question, especially now being in school in Texas and having kind of an outside view in hearing more and learning more. I think the two words that I would use to describe what a perfect futuristic Oklahoma would be reconciled and would be known. I think that our state is really just in need of reconciliation. I am a Booker T. Washington graduate in Tulsa. Go Hornets. I'm in love with Booker T and in love with everything that Booker T represents. And even though Booker T is this wonderful spot where it seems like communities are coming together, there are so many other parts of the city of Tulsa where people are alone and people are unreconciled. And so I really think that we can live in a state that actually comes together and is willing to admit wrongs and differences and be truly reconciled. Not only one where people can admit that wrong things happen, but perhaps even reparations in some way or form or what have you, whatever that looks like. People can really be reconciled. And then the other part of that is that people can be known. Angela, one of the things that's awesome about this event right now is we're seeing every part of Oklahoma, which is a rare thing because a lot of times we're only seeing Tulsa and Oklahoma City and what's happening there. And so getting just an insider peek on the communities that are present in places like with Jacoby and Lawton and with Roxanne and Ardmore, other places in the state, a state that knows itself and knows its history, I think is a great state to live in and one that I really want my generation to create and to really make happen.
I appreciate that response because you talked about reconciliation. You talked about truth. I always wonder sometimes how people can just totally disregard what is factual truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not opinion, it's not belief, but it's in your face truth. And to totally disregard that and to create this alternative truth that is not founded or based in anything that's factual or historical creates chaos.
Mm-hmm.
It creates mistrust, and it creates this unwillingness to appreciate and value one another. So I'm glad you said that. I hope people will take to heart what you just said about reconciliation. Some people, particularly when we talk about the Tulsa Race Massacre,
Mm-hmm.
or we talk about slavery in this country. Well, I personally didn't own slaves. Well, I personally was not a slave, but I can count generations back, not too far, my family members who were. And I always use this analogy about reconciliation and making things more equitable. So if you and I were in a race and I tied your legs in a foot race, and I tied your legs together, and for 5 generations of this race, I said, okay, you and I are in it together. We're just going around and around and around. And 4 generations, 5 generations later, I untied your legs and said, okay, you're untied now, you're free. So we can be in this race equitably together. That's not really true. Because I have no doubt looped you. I can't think of the term that's generally used in track and field, but lapped you. I think that's what it is. If I lapped you a whole bunch of times, you still have a long distance to go to catch up. So just because I freed you at that moment does not make us even. does not make this race equitable. And it's a crazy analogy, but if people would think about how things in this country for women, for people who are a non-European, people who were here, native Oklahomans who were here before anybody got here, how when we bind folk, when we restrict movement, when we restrict access, when we create things that are not fair and equitable, you can't just immediately say, okay, everything is even now.
Mm-hmm.
Think that people are just how magically somehow caught up. It just doesn't work that way. And knowing history and reconciling that fact really is important to get to that place.
And I really, I think what's awesome about that analogy is think about two people that have been able to be running for as long as they have muscles, they have stamina. They've been able to develop specifically to run. And when we untie people's legs, not only are they at a disadvantage because they are not as progressed,
that's right,
like their bodies aren't ready. There are things in our state, institutions that have prevented people from developing, things like financial literacy, things like even being knowledgeable of voting stations or being knowledgeable of the census. People have been limited in the knowledge that they have. And so, of course, they haven't been able to progress because not only have they been tied, they haven't had the time to develop the muscles to run in the first place. That's an excellent analogy.
Your addition to that analogy is just right on point. I think about home ownership in this country, employment, supervision. Who's going to be the supervisors? I mean, how do we move up to be the boss, owning our own companies? And it's just things that, I hope people who are viewing this will think about this. No doubt our audience is a thoughtful audience. But I hope they'll share these kinds of conversations with others. Kyle will be with us later, and I attended an event last night sponsored by an organization called Thick Descriptions, one of our partners in trying to get the census count out. Thick Descriptions is a group of people, that's a kind of best way I can describe it, that really come together and tackle these hard issues, and try to, Dejan just noted, and heal the wounds. And she's right. Add that to this analogy. You're bound, you're not able to develop, you're wounded. I mean, all those things. And I think the people who are willing to have hard conversations, like the people who come together with Thick Descriptions, and then they go back to their communities and have these conversations. If we're really, that's part of the recognition and part of the healing process and the reconciliation process, to really, understand that life for a whole lot of people in this country has been really hard. And it's been unfair and unjust. But that's why voting is important. That's why the census is important. It begins that process. And we got to keep our words. We got to use our words. We got to use this voice. So I don't know. These things are really, this was your interview, not mine. And I apologize. But these things have weighed heavy on my heart for a long time. I'm pretty old and 65 years old. I don't mind sharing my age. I turned the magic 65, got that Medicare card this year. People talk about socialism and socialized medicine. Medicare is a way that we all can be insured. Public education, although not equitable, is a way that we all supposedly can be educated. We do things in a socialized way in this country, and that's not so bad. But I like that Medicare card. Got to get that copay down. I'll be good. Neither here nor there, Tucker. That was just a little.
That's awesome.
So Tucker, where you go from here? What are you going to do after this? What's your plan?
Well, that's the question. One of the fantastic things about pursuing the liberal arts is that it seems like there are so many options, and there's so many great ways to give back to Oklahoma. Definitely, I plan on going there immediately after I graduate. So I think it really just comes down to what opportunities are available and what are some ways that we can make immediate change in the state with my generation. I'll share my age too. I'm 21. I know I look like I'm 14. I grew the mustache, so people thought I would be older, and it makes me look younger. So I don't know. But other people my age are going to be in the same situation where they have the option to either come home or go elsewhere. And what I'll say specifically to Oklahomans that are in my situation is where is a place that you want fertile soil to grow professionally? And I think that even though it can be easy to go to places that are really ripe for immediate success, which is awesome. And I really want to encourage people that, desire a degree of like intense financial stability. There are wonderful places in the country to be employed. But also recognize how Oklahoma is growing and recognize how you can be involved in that growth. So that was just a long way of saying not quite sure yet, but I graduate in May, so I have until then to figure it out.
Well, you're young, 21. We were laughing because you said a 14-year-old with a mustache. I literally do have a soon-to-be 14-year-old grandson with a mustache.
You're kidding.
A beard, and he looks like a 14-year-old with a mustache.
Angela, it took me 21 years to grow this, and I'm embarrassed right now.
Well, keep it. Keep that little facial hair. It makes you look. Well, I won't say that. I'll tell you later privately.
Okay.
But it makes you
We'll talk later.
You look like a famous somebody. You really look like a movie star. So maybe that's
I'll write that down.
Something that you can grasp hold of. Just don't know.
Oh, this is awesome. I really appreciate this comment on the screen. That's very, very encouraging.
Well, you're really good. That's Dejan. Dejan Jones is also one of our partners. She is the executive director of OIC, Opportunities Industrialization Center. It's a national organization that was created by Reverend Leon Sullivan a whole lot of decades ago, really to train and teach people who've not had opportunities to develop skills, those skills that they need to go out and be productive in the world. And they're still doing that. OIC of Oklahoma County has been here forever, as long as I can remember, from the time I was a young girl, helping people get GEDs, helping people whose first language is not English learn English. They're going to even help people like me learn how to do better on social media. So they're really OIC and Dejan. I just want to take my hat off to you to say thank you for your hard work in the community. Dejan also works really hard with the Progressive Oklahoma Baptist State Convention and does a lot of work with churches across the state, trying to encourage them to be active and take their rightful part in social activism. Those of us who are believers, those who believe in Christ, know your history, know his life, he was a serious social activist. So, in any faith that you might have, any belief that you might have, if you know that history and know it well, you will no doubt find personalities, individuals, stories of social activism, because that's what, as humans, we do have a responsibility one for another. So Tucker, I'm just glad that there are people like you all across this country, and they are all across this country who get it, who will keep working toward the kind of future that we all see, the kind of changes in this country that we all need and deserve. I always call it the Star Trek future. I'm looking for that Star Trek future to happen one of these days, maybe even before I go away, meaning that doesn't matter what you look like, It doesn't matter what kind of alien you might be, or planet you might be from, or how many eyes you have, or what color you are. It doesn't matter. In that Star Trek future, everybody is of value, of worth, and has a place of contribution. So, Tucker, hey, thank you very much, my dear. I love you so. I just love you, and I thank you. Anything else you want to say in conclusion?
I just I want to express my sincere appreciation just for an event like this, and just the people that we have been able to talk to. I've loved it so far, and I don't know. I just want to give a little bit of hope to people that are my age and Oklahoman, that there is something phenomenal in the future. But I don't think we can get there unless people really can see how wonderful our state is and how fertile the soil is to just grow something new and something fantastic. So, Star Trek future.
Where there's no
day, Angela.
Hey, have a good day, Tucker. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, babe.
Absolutely.
The other part of my analogy out there, guys, for the Star Trek future is the opposite. Is the Book of Eli future, a favorite movie of mine. If you haven't seen it, you ought to look at it. So now you know my favorite TV and movie viewing, Star Trek and the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. And it's a futuristic story where people are killing one another for water. People are illiterate, and and our society could devolve into such a chaos that we have a Book of Eli future, but we don't have to if we do what we're supposed to. And there are a lot of other people on the street doing stuff that they have to. They're compelled to do. I don't know where they get this sense of motivation, but it comes deep in the heart. And one of those folk is my friend Cheryl Bowler. Cheryl works with the African Methodist Episcopal churches all across the state. We're getting them in early. She didn't anticipate joining us for another 15 minutes, but we are a bit ahead of schedule, and that's going to give us a little extra time to talk with them. Cheryl and a crew of folk over on the intersection of Northeast 23rd and Martin Luther King in Oklahoma City. Is that where you are, Cheryl?
Yes, ma'am. That's where we are right this moment.
Well, who you got with you? And tell us what you
I got a whole bunch of AMEs, African Methodist Episcopal.
How about go around? Let's see them.
Yeah.
Let's hear from them. Introduce us to them.
Okay. We have Brother Jared Jackson. He's from Sherman Montran and where y'all live at? Spencer, Oklahoma. Betty Molan is from Avery here in Oklahoma City. Janice Timberlake is from Sherman Montran and Spencer. I have Chanel Doolin. Her church is actually all the way down in Flipper Tab, Oklahoma. I have enumerators on site across the street signing up folks as we speak. Over in front of Kentucky Fried Chicken, she's over there as a numerator on site signing up people for the census. So the AME church is in the house. We're doing what God has told us to get out into the vineyard and to do. And we are proud, peacock proud, to be out here to represent the Black society in Oklahoma and the faith-based organization of the church. So we're just out here doing what we can to bring awareness to the community. And we're letting them know as we're talking to them, we're finding out too, Angela, a lot of people have already done it. So we are very glad to even hear about people that have already signed up and done the census. But it's just wonderful to know that we're here to bring the awareness to the community so we can make them aware of what's going on and what it means to do your census. So like I say, I'm Cheryl Bowler. I'm the president of the Oklahoma Lay Organization. My home church is St. James out in Arcadia. And we're just proud to be here on the corner of 23rd and Martin Luther King.
I tell you.
If you know anybody, just send them over here. We got people with the actual phone ready to sign you up.
That's right. Cheryl, I just love Cheryl and her energy. She is president of this statewide organization, right, within the AME Church. And she told me, for those of you who might be listening, we've got this little competition going on. little competition, you know.
Yeah.
Competition. And she told me the other night, we're gonna win this money. So
Yes.
we are able, together, Oklahoma Policy is able to offer a financial incentive to organizations who get out there and work, who really fill out that census and help others fill out that census. So we got this $1,000 first place prize and a $750 second place prize and a $500 third place prize. If Cheryl could, she win them all, man.
That's right. See, I got a numerator right here. She
Got
got
that
her name.
enumerator.
You ready?
Let me stop talking about prizes. Is that enumerator willing to talk to us?
You ready to talk? Yeah, she'll talk.
Talk to us. Tell us your name and tell us a little about your experiences.
Tell us your name and what you've been doing.
Oh, my name is Betty Molden, and I'm an enumerator, and I'm getting ready to go down here and visit the liquor store to see who hasn't not gotten their census done. So we're gonna go get somebody. Yes.
Go.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Go get somebody.
All right.
Go
I think that ought to be our theme. Go get somebody.
Yeah.
That's important.
We are really excited to be a part of this today. And like I said earlier, thank you, Angela, for including us in this endeavor because it is well needed in the community.
Well, don't go far. We're not through yet. We're a little ahead of schedule, and I know it's out there and it's windy, and you're in our community right there on a key intersection, Northeast Third and Martin Luther King, the library, the Kentucky Fried Chicken,
all of that right here.
Location where there used to be a grocery store. When I grew up, I can remember when it was.
It's gone.
It's gone now, but I want to make this announcement for those who might not have seen it or heard it. October 1 will be the groundbreaking for the new Homeland grocery store and the intersection of Northeast 36th and Lincoln Boulevard.
Oh, we didn't know that.
So right there, a big fancy with a deli and a bakery and a butcher on site and a whole bunch of good food to be purchased. And I know you're a good AME, but they actually have an outdoor wine situation.
Oh, yeah. Jesus turned water into wine, didn't he? At the wedding, didn't he turn some water into wine?
And got the best. As the story goes, it was the best wine. You know,
that's right.
At the wedding celebration, usually folks here serve the best up front and save the junk stuff till the end. And
that's right.
Jesus turned that water into wine. Best ever. So you'll be able to sit out and have a little wine and enjoy the scenery.
Exactly.
And next door to that location is the up and coming senior center that's going to be built. All of these things in 2021, 2022. So I just want to give a shout out to our council person, Nikki Nice, and former Councilman John Pettis, who have steered all of this along. We're just happy to be a part of it.
Grocery store coming up?
You got, Cheryl's got some more people. Cheryl, you got some more people there with us? All right. Cheryl, anything else you want to say to us?
No, we are out here and we'll be here till we get tired, but we are here for the cause.
Hey, what's the song? That's the song, gang.
No ways. My local churches for coming out to help us.
Thank you. Hey, before you go, name some of those local churches. I know you can't name all those AME churches across the state, but name some that are involved in this census campaign.
Okay, I have Avery Chapel over off of Kellum, Allen Chapel over off of 13th and Cage, Mount Triumph Sherman out in Spencer. I'm at St. James Arcadia. Chanel is down in Flipper Town in Tal. We got First AME over on 23rd and Kelly. And Collins Community is out on 16th Street.
All right.
Yeah, so we have several AME churches right here in the metro area.
So sure went all the way down to Taft, Oklahoma over there?
Yeah, we went all the way down to Taft, Oklahoma and got them.
It's a whole lot of people that need to be counted over there, I bet.
Yes. You know, we working on it. I'm also working on my group up in Tulsa. I've tapped into them as well.
All right.
Yes.
Well, this has been a good day. I see that pretty blue sky behind
Yes.
you.
Yes.
People don't have an excuse. They can come
No,
out.
none at all.
Guys, come out.
We even
Help
got
Cheryl
some.
and those AMEs win that money.
We got some hand sanitizer, some water. I even got you some face masks, some fans,
Oh,
some water bottles. We
can
got
we see
stuff.
some of you got some good giveaways.
We
What you
got some
got?
good
You got
giveaways.
that giving them to folk, right?
Yeah, we giving it to folks. It's free.
It's free. We
Now,
like free.
now look
We
at our sign. Our sign says, can you see the sign?
yeah, free 2020 census
Census.
dollars.
Yeah.
It means money. 2020 census means money for this, and it's free. You
That's
don't have to
right.
pay anybody to
Anything.
fill
That's
out that
right.
census, and you can get some stuff, right?
There it is.
There you go. We appreciate you, Cheryl. We appreciate the enumerators that are there with you working. We appreciate. I hope Patricia made it by. She was with us earlier from
She made it
Fairview.
by.
She came by. So
Yeah,
that's
she
a
came by.
U.S. Census employee who's committed to partnerships in our community. Hey,
See,
I keep
we got one
watching.
sitting down. We got one sitting down. We
Got
doing it
somebody
out here.
sitting down. Let's see. Can you just kind of pan around? Let's see what you got going on. Let's see a little more.
We got
Be a
another
real
one of our
reporter.
numerators on site that's sitting down doing it right now.
All right. Yay.
Yeah, she's sitting
See,
there
every
doing
person
it.
counts. And,
Huh?
and we said earlier today, it might be just one or two here or there, but
Right.
you add up to 10 or 20 and then 100 and 1,000. And before we know it, Oklahoma won't be in that
At
bottom
the bottom of the
15.
list no more. That's right.
Yes, and not anymore. We'll be
That's
moving
right.
our way, meeting those other states. Cheryl,
That's
stay on with us. Stay
I
on. We'll put
will.
you back in the studio. I may
Okay.
need to bring you back out again.
Okay, no
See
problem.
how
I'm
things
here.
are going. Bless you, my sister. Thank
Now
you for
thank
your hard
y'all.
work.
Y'all have a good day. We
All
here. We'll
right.
be here.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Bye-bye.
I just so wish I could get out there in those streets and really be with folk. But, some of us can't. We're stuck on this little screen. And I'm just grateful. I'm really being a bit silly this morning, but I'm just really, truly grateful for the hard work of folk who don't mind getting out there, putting on those masks, carrying that hand sanitizer, trying to make it easier for folk to complete their 2020 census. This is really, really, really important for Oklahoma, for each of us, for our children, for our grandchildren. 10 years. We're stuck with these numbers for 10 years. A whole lot of people listening may be familiar with Mayor Mahoney Community Health Center or the Perry Clausen Center or the Morton Community Health Center in Tulsa. And their centers all variety care. Centers, community health centers all across the state that see people who don't have insurance and who don't have financial resources to pay to go to a doctor. They offer prescriptions at a very, very low rate. They have x-rays and laboratories, mammograms, an array of services. Well, those facilities, the creation of those facilities is based upon census numbers and medically underserved areas. And so, Head Start in our community, Head Start's been around since before I was a kid. And it's important that we get counted because programs like Head Start are dependent upon our census count. Community action agencies and the money that they receive, our public schools, our roads. It's been mentioned before, and Oklahoma has some of the worst roads around. Oklahoma City, potholes galore, and our ability to repair our roads and bridges is tied directly to the census count. So for those of you who think it doesn't matter, it does. So if you've completed yours, take your phone out. Text everybody in your contact list. When you go to your church or your organizational meeting, ask, is there somebody here who hasn't completed their census? Go to my2020census.gov right there with them and make sure they complete it. And if everybody fortunately has completed their census, which about 95% of us have, so that remaining 5% is really hard to reach, ask the people you talk to, pull their phones out, multiply this over and over and over again, and maybe eventually we can get everybody counted. And for those of you who encounter individuals who say, I don't want the government having my information, I don't want them to know anything about me, the least you can do is tell us how many people live in your house. That's the least that you can do. But this information is protected. Don't ever think the census information is probably the most protected information that exists. So nobody can get their hands on it. Not about you individually. It's only looked at the aggregate. So the totals. We only look at the total amounts of people that live and go to school and the ages and the demographic information. It's total, it's aggregate information though. So it's safe. It's safe and it's important. And it is almost noon and we're about 15 minutes ahead of schedule. So what the heck? Jessica, let's use a little time, see who's here, and give another gift card out. And we got another person coming up to visit with us. We got my favorite person, Mother Mabel Lean, the census taker, who's going to join us here in just a little bit. In fact, I know she's probably in the house somewhere. Mama Mabel Lean, if you're in the house, let Jessica know, and we're probably going to go with you a little early. So if you're listening, come on back into this studio so we can talk to you. Let's see, we've got some, Dejan said, I love these comments. The government already knows about you. You might as well get counted. I heard somebody say that too the other day. They already know us stuff. There's a bunch of stuff they do already know about us. So you might as well get counted. That is absolutely right. Because those dollars that come to Oklahoma because you got counted may mean the difference between a textbook, a school remaining open in your community. They may mean the difference between you being able to access healthcare when you need it because it's close by in your community and it's affordable and it's high quality. So you might as well get counted, just like you might as well get registered to vote. Make sure that voice is heard. We've heard over and over and over about how tight things are. There's the third gift card winner, Nika Garrett. I apologize if I pronounced it incorrectly. Nika Garrett, congratulations. You are our third winner of this gift card. And we're about halfway marked to this event today. We're not going to make it last longer than we should, but we got some places to go. We got to go back to Oklahoma City. We got to go back to Ardmore. We got to hear from our great, funny census taker, Mother Mabel Lean. She has a huge social media presence, a whole lot of followers. So we want to make sure that we share information over and over and over again so that people can see her, people can hear about my 2020 census, and people can make sure that they register to vote and maybe even win that $50 gift card. Got another couple giveaways coming up. We've got Kyle, I don't know if he's in the studio, coming up here in just a minute. I'm stretching. I had not planned to stretch like this. I could move over and play my piano, but we might lose viewers. I don't want to do that. I just hate this little downtime. Jessica, if you got anything that you can share. We went about 15 minutes ahead of schedule. Let me just give another announcement. I know that there's some voter registration going on and some census taking going on out by Star Spencer High School students. So those of you who are Bobcats, do know that your Bobcat High School seniors are doing their part too. All these young people, they are at the ESA Park That park is on Spencer Road between Northeast 23rd Street on the north and Northeast 10th Street on the south, right on Spencer Road. They're out there gathering voter registrations. There's some census activity going on out there. We've got a census community partnership person out there working hard with these young people to get the word out. So Nairi is out there with them. She is one of the partnership specialists for the Census Bureau, helping these young people fulfill their social duty. So we all have a social duty to do what is required. So join Star Spencer High School. Just to recap, there are people at Northeast 23rd and Martin Luther King if you're in Oklahoma City. There are people at the Roma, I hope I said it right, Casa Roma Mexican food restaurant in Ardmore. There are going to be people at the Ardmore Public Library here pretty quickly to register you to vote. We've got a lot of organizations working with us in this campaign. The Links, Oklahoma City chapter are actively involved with us. The NAACP state conference and local branches are actively working with us, trying to get census completed. As many people as possible to do their census. We've got bunch of other organizations, the AKAs and the Deltas and the Sigma Gamma Rho's are all out there working with us and these organizations didn't just start because we asked them to. These organizations have for a long time understood the importance of the census and registering to vote. And so they've been working a while, trying to get people to participate in both the census and voter registration and voter turnout. So, it's important to join with somebody else. Sometimes when we're by ourselves, we feel so isolated and so powerless, but we're not. We have power as individuals, but we have great power when we come together collectively. That's what Together Oklahoma is about, coming together collectively to use our voices, to use our knowledge, to use our power, to create the kinds of communities that we want to live in, that are important to us. Donna Thompson is out at Otwell's grocery store. I don't know if she's listening. We're going to move on there. We want to pick her up at some point. Donna, if you're listening and online with us, come on back into the studio so we can get you up. We were really pushed toward the end of this conversation with 3 or 4 events. So if we can get you in earlier, Donna, come on in. We'll give you, you'll have a little more time to talk about your work. Donna is also, Dejan says she's even at the nail salon. We got to get folk counted at the nail salon. That's absolutely right. I just love Dejan. She's so good. Donna Thompson, who we're going to visit with in just a little bit, is part of the Oklahoma Prison Ministry, sponsored by the Oklahoma Baptist State Convention. And I would like to really visit with her about who can register to vote, because she's been working really hard, not just on the census, but about a whole lot of issues. So I'm just texting her and say, can you come on and let's talk about voter registration? There's a whole lot of misinformation about there, who can register, who can vote. So the lineup for the afternoon, we're going to have a little conversation with Kyle. We're going to talk to Donna Thompson about her efforts. She's at the Otwell store. So Otwell's has another name. I do not know the new name, but we all know it. If you know it as Otwell's, right there on Martin Luther King and I think Euclid or 12th Street. You can go over there, sign up to register, complete that census form, And I get a message that says we've got Kyle in the studio. Kyle Lawson is not just a young man who is socially aware, who is in tune, but he has devoted a whole bunch of his personal energy to make a difference. Kyle Lawson, he's like my other son, from another mother and another father, but I can still claim you, Kyle. We've been talking about you all morning, about some of our activities last night. Good morning to you. I'm just gonna give you a minute to open up and say whatever you want to say about the census, about Together Oklahoma, about social activism, about whatever, and then we'll come back and we'll have a conversation. So everybody, please meet my other son, my dear friend, Kyle Lawson.
Hey everyone, my name is Kyle Lawson. I am the senior field organizer for the Oklahoma Policy Institute. I primarily work through Together Oklahoma. We are a grassroots coalition working throughout Oklahoma to create a more prosperous state for all Oklahomans. And right now we're really focusing on census engagement and driving folks to fill out their census. And I just want to thank all of the partners that we've been checking in with throughout the day, and all of those who weren't able to join us today, for all your work and dedication to this event, and to helping to drive folks to the census and get that done. I think it's extremely important that every single individual in the state is counted, that was here on April 1st, taking up residency here on April 1st. And it's really important that we bring those federal dollars back to our state as an investment into our future, and that we get counted for representation, because that's extremely important and representation matters. And, you know, as I think about the census, I really think about all those folks who are always complaining about having to pay taxes. And I really want to encourage those folks right now to think about how important it is that they complete their census and fill that out. Because this is an opportunity for you to bring those dollars that you invest into your government back to your state and into your local community to help reinvest into your community. I want folks who are thinking about the census to be thinking about their professions, their business, their hobbies, their philanthropic activities, everything that you do and touch in the state of Oklahoma, and what those activities would look like, what your business would look like if the agencies and the programs that you work with or work for or work through the state had additional dollars just because you filled out your census, and what that would mean to a more prosperous life for you. So I really want folks to be thinking about what those dollars would mean to your community. And as you're thinking about that, if you've completed the census, be thinking about who it is that's in your network that you can reach out to, just to say, hey, look, this is my why. This is why I did the census. And I really want to encourage you to fill out the census. So again, thank you to all the partners who have helped us diligently through all of this. I'm excited that somebody decided on the federal court system that we needed more time to complete the census, because it has been a very difficult year. And I just want to make sure that we're taking as much time as we can. And I'm glad that we do right now have more time. And I'm excited to see what the next month around engagement with the census will look like for us and for our partners.
So, Kyle, thanks for those comments. And you mentioned this court ruling that got issued late Thursday night, technically early Friday morning, I think. It's a federal court in the northern part of California. Some of the key plaintiffs were the National Urban League. I think I won't get it right, Lawyers for Civil Rights or Civil Rights. It's an organization of attorneys who work on civil rights issues, but a whole lot of organizations. So, and that ruling said that the census would be extended until October 31. So let's talk about your understanding. I hope we didn't lose Kyle. Your understanding of that ruling. We do have an extra 31 days.
Yeah, so I haven't looked too in depth into it. But you know, last night we did attend the thick description soiree, and I abducted two of their moms and brought them home with me. And on all of their mums, they had a little elephant sticking out the top, and it said, "Mum is not the word." And each elephant on the back side had a word. And the ones that I happened to abduct and bring home, one says classism, and the other one says systemic bias. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about this morning, those two words definitely stood out to me. So I want to say thank you to Thick Descriptions for keeping those words this morning as a reminder. And I think we have to think about that as we're thinking about these extra days and why it's important, because it's super easy to say, oh, well, everybody was mailed a census and they should have completed it and sent it back. But I think what's the most important thing that we need to remember is that we're trying to reach out to those very rural areas, into those communities who don't have access to everything that we do. And we need to think about our places of privilege that have helped us to get access to that information. And we need to utilize our places of privilege and our platforms as much as possible to help uplift those individuals and give them space on those platforms to utilize their voice and bring them to the table and help them get counted. And a huge part of that is explaining to them why it's important that they're counted, because for many marginalized communities, historically, the government has not been friendly to them. And so when they come to their door asking for them to be counted, they're not excited to be counted. They're not excited to see the government at their door, because historically, that has not been a positive thing for those communities. And we have to be thinking about those things and how do we approach this in a way that we can help to explain to communities that these are additional dollars that we're bringing to them, and help to bring individuals from their community to their door that look like them and are part of their community. So that's what we're working on, and that's what we need these additional days for. And we all know that 2020 has been an extremely difficult year on every level. Mm-hmm. We've all struggled. We've all experienced an entirely new world, and we recognize that we may never see the world that we left behind ever again. And so we have to think about how we operate and how we move through these systems and through this new world. And a huge part of that is how do we navigate the census? We've had to do a huge majority of our census work virtually. And not everybody, especially in rural Oklahoma, is living in Gene Autry and Ardmore and Springer and Lone Grove for the past 10 years and still having family there. I recognize that broadband internet in rural Oklahoma is not a reality. In order to have semi-quality internet, it's around $150 in some rural areas, and families can't afford that. So they don't have access to internet that brings them to these virtual spaces. So now we need to spend the month of October really examining how do we reach out to individuals in rural Oklahoma, and how do we explain to them the importance of the census and how important it is to bring those dollars back to invest in their communities, into their businesses, into their hobbies, into their nonprofits. So I think that's extremely important.
You said a couple of things. You said a whole lot of things that are really important, but you mentioned the lack of access to internet in rural Oklahoma, in rural areas. And in fact, one of our partners that we wanted to get on with us was down near Idabel, Oklahoma. And she said, I'd love to do this, but, I just don't have any access to Wi-Fi. And you had another job, I think it was more a volunteer position, but an extremely important and difficult job some while ago as mayor of a small community, right? So Tell us about that experience in life in rural Oklahoma and being a leader in a very small community and some of the issues and obstacles that people who live in those communities face.
Yeah, absolutely. I was the mayor for the town of Gene Autry for 3 years. And I will say that, broadband internet and access to things like drinking water, access to things like sewage disposal, access to recreational activities to get folks out of the home and moving and healthy, were always on the forefront of my mind on how can we get additional dollars. And a lot of people don't know that our municipalities are reliant on sales tax alone. We are one of the only states in the nation that require their municipal governments to create an entire budget around sales tax alone. And for some of our rural communities, for some of our smaller towns, right now they are on the verge of bankruptcy. And with the world right now, we don't know what next year is going to look like for some of these small towns and what their infrastructure is going to look like. There's huge conversations that have been going on for decades around rural infrastructure and roads and bridges. And as these things are deteriorating over time, there is not like there's not enough funding in rural Oklahoma and these rural towns to maintain these road systems. There's not funding to maintain these water systems and get water to folks. And that's why it's even more important that folks get out and complete their census, because that's federal funding coming back to these small communities that are so reliant on such a small revenue system that is so fragile, and it is right now extremely fragmented.
That's absolutely right. I think about what you said, towns being dependent upon sales taxes, and the pandemic hits, and people don't spend money, and so businesses close, and there's no revenue. Many years ago, I worked as a little city manager for 6 very, very rural towns. One of them only had 214 people, and I used to say we did neighborhood development. But it's really hard for these small communities before the pandemic to sustain themselves. Coupled with the pandemic and some of the other issues, it's so difficult. That's why the census is important. That's why elections are important. I used to always say elections have consequences. They do. They have consequences. So these things are important. You also talked about, and I know, so if you need to go away, Kyle has had some things happening to him and makes talking maybe a little more uncomfortable, and I don't want any setbacks at all. So if I'm asking you too many questions, you need to sign off. Just say, hey, I've said enough and I'll talk to you another day. But you were talking about systemic issues, and I know you have been in your work with Together Oklahoma and Oklahoma Policy puts you right in the forefront of many of these systemic issues that our communities are facing. It's kind of like I asked Tucker earlier, given your experience and exposure, talk a minute about some of those hard to fix problems that we must confront, that we must address straight on if we're going to make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. One effort that we've done the past year, that we've done a great job of going back to thick descriptions again through the past year, is going into some of the rural areas and having the really difficult conversations around racism and systemic racism in public policy specifically. And we've been screening the film Race, the Power of an Illusion, which walks you through segregation and racism in public policy from the end of slavery all the way into the 80s. And then Suzette Chang with Thick Descriptions always joins us to help folks navigate that conversation on what those policies look like today, and how individuals don't have access to all the same things, and what equity looks like, and how do we move forward from that? How do we create equity? And our goal is to now move into kind of the healing process with those communities. But COVID has created a space where we don't know where that's at yet. And a lot of rural communities have done a really good job of trying to find their own ways to navigate this situation. I'll even point out Idabel, Oklahoma. When I was in office, we had a mayor's conference there, and I got to know Mayor Tina Foshi really well, and we've sustained a relationship since then. Mayor Tina Foshi has done a phenomenal job partnering with the local tribes and helping to build up her community, because she recognizes that they're a very rural community with limited dollars. And the tribes in that area have done a fantastic job partnering with the municipality to help create a better city for all citizens and develop things like a phenomenal museum there, a huge community center that's beautiful and has some great technology inside of it. They've invested in their police department, their fire department, their air park there. The tribes have really helped invest into that community. And that's a situation where there were limited resources and communities kind of came together. And just working as a queer individual, especially in rural Oklahoma and holding office, you see things through a different lens and you experience life much differently. And as you go through Oklahoma, there's always this thought of cautiousness as you're navigating these networks. And, I think that last night there was a lot of conversation around, will there ever be a time in our lifetime where we don't see those barriers and we don't have to kind of cautiously navigate around conversations? And I think that's very much possible. I think a huge part of that is just starting the conversations now. and kind of putting aside that thought that we were instilled as children, especially me, taught that it's impolite to have conversations around religion, politics, and race. And I think that we need to push beyond that and just sit down and have those conversations. And I think that's the most important part is having the conversations. Sharing stories is the most powerful part of that. And then actually standing up and creating that change, which a huge part of that starts with completing the census. And then the next step going beyond that is voter engagement. October 9th is the last day in the state of Oklahoma to register to vote. And it's extremely important that folks get out right now, make sure that your voter registration is up to date, that you are registered at the address that you're currently living at, identifying your polling place, and then coming up with your plan. What is your plan to get to the polls? And I want you to say, like, today in your mind, say, I am committed to getting to the polls, and then go beyond that and say, this is my plan. For me, my plan is, historically, I've always voted by mail and got my ballot out as early as possible. This year, because of some of the issues that I've seen in media around the Postal Service, I intend to fill out my absentee ballot, get that notarized, and I'm going to take that to my county election board in person and hand deliver that so that I ensure that my vote is counted. So what is your plan? That's my challenge to you today as you're watching us on our social media channels. Ask yourself, what is my plan to get to the polls and make sure that my voice is heard in 2020? And as we move into October, as an organization, Together Oklahoma is going to continue our census engagement, but we're also going to dive really deep into voter engagement and ensuring folks are getting to the polls, and not only being counted with the census, but their voices being counted as well at the polls.
You know, you said it, get a plan. Always gotta get a plan, have a plan, use that plan, execute that plan. And we never know what November 3rd is gonna be like. I've signed up to get my absentee ballot. It's actually on my kitchen table. I'm still pondering about one choice. It has nothing to do with candidates. It's one of our state questions. That's a whole nother conversation. We should have these conversations, hard ones, and about state questions, about race, about religion. And if we can have them respectfully, you know, that's the real issue. You know, we tend to want to judge. We should not judge. We should be willing to accept. We should be willing to respect. I mean, there are principles and values, human principles and values that will create peace. They will create an environment within which we all feel safe and protected and are able to pursue our goals and dreams. And there's, you know, they're fleeting sometimes. Respect is one, appreciation, a recognition that all humans really are equal, and that we do have pretty much the same goals and dreams and visions. It's when we want to think, as the scripture says, more highly of ourselves than we ought, better about ourselves, our race, our positions, our whatever, than we should. And if we think that, then we must think that there are others who are lower than. And the work is hard and the conversations have to be had. Tucker was on earlier. I don't know if you heard him talk, but as a 21-year-old who understands it, who gets it, we really hope that there will be more young people who will pursue these opportunities for conversations and the hard work out there in our community. So, hey, you're young too. You're one of those young people on that list of folk who really can make this world a peaceful world and the productive world and that we want. It's we say it's so heavy on our shoulders. Well, don't think about it then as the world. Just think about it in your own, sometimes our own houses, our own family members who have these views and perspectives that we know are very narrow and archaic and are hurtful to other people. And try to see it from someone else's lenses, at least every now and then, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't want to bombard our viewers and our advocates with tasks and calls to action. One, definitely complete the census. Two, definitely have your plan in November to ensure that your vote is counted. And then I would challenge you to go beyond the polls this next year going into 2021. I would really challenge you to come up with a plan on how you're going to be an advocate in your state capitol and your state government. And we definitely know that it looks different during COVID. We don't know what the Capitol is going to look like and access to that's going to look like. To start identifying who your legislator is, go over to okpolicy.org under our resource tab and use the Find Your Legislator tool to identify who your House representative is and who your senator is, and really come up with a plan on how you're going to start reaching out to them now, pre-election, and then post-election. On what their plan is going into legislative session, and then express to them what's important to you. Come up with a list of things that are important to you in your community and your state that you want to talk to them about. And then as legislation starts being crafted around those things that you're passionate about, actively engage in that process this year as that legislation goes through committee onto the House floor, switches chambers and goes through the same process, and then goes to the governor's desk. I really challenge people to be a part of that process. And we do have a program called ABCs of Advocacy through Together Oklahoma that if you or your organization is interested in, feel free to reach out to me at klawson@togetherok.org. And we'd be happy to walk you through that process on how you actively engage with the state legislature and be a part of crafting and creating legislation in your state that creates some of these positive changes that we're talking about. And that's just one of the many programs that we can definitely help folks with to help create change in your community and in your state. And I think that's a huge majority of what I wanted to make sure I covered today, Angela.
Well, I sure am glad you talked about the legislative change and the legislative session, because sometimes we forget about that. And as a former state legislator, I mean, people think they don't have any power, or what they think doesn't matter, or their voices are not heard, but that is not true. It is definitely not true. Give a phone call to a member, write a letter, go by. Sometimes we would be so busy doing stuff on the floor, as we say it. People don't want to come out and say hello. But I guarantee you, if you put on a note and say, hey, assuming we have access to the Capitol, I live in your district, or I can vote for you, people will respond. Legislators will respond. And people will say, well, they're not going to vote the way I want them to vote, so why even waste my breath trying to encourage them to do so? They still need to hear your position. Sometimes I think people don't voice their thoughts because they think they're in the minority or they're opposite from what their legislators think. That's when they really need to hear you. So you'd be surprised how many other people think like you think. You'd be surprised. We call it the silent majority. Don't be a part of the silent majority. Express your views, write those letters. We don't know what access to the Capitol is going to look like in these days of COVID, but there are a whole lot of other ways to get your messages to people who represent you. That is the critical key. They represent us. Democracy is a wonderful thing. Representative democracy is a wonderful thing when it's exercised. But when a key piece is missing, that is those individuals who are being represented, it does not work. So if we want this system of government to work for us, we have to engage in it. And I just appreciate Together Oklahoma for being on the ground, in the trenches, ready to roll, to make a difference in our communities across the state, teaching people how to be activists, teaching people how to make sure their voices are heard. So, hey, Kyle, I love you so. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for all your hard work. People all across the state love you and value you and appreciate you and wish you the best, and stay strong, because we need to literally hear your voice in this case, literally. So rest that throat, rest those vocal cords, and make sure you're ready to talk to us some more. Anything else you want to add? Any closing comments?
Yeah, I just want to again reiterate, thank you so much to all of our advocates who have been out there working boots on the ground in their community to encourage folks to complete the census, getting them registered to vote. Thank you to all of our partners who are joining us today or weren't able to be with us today that are doing this work. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to you, Angela, for being here and hosting this event on your Saturday, and to Jessica, who's on the back end that our folks don't get to see, who's also here on her Saturday, helping to ensure that people are completing their census, and to Tucker, who was on earlier today as well from our team, that took time on his Saturday away to come and be a part of this. And again, thank you to all the viewers, thank you to all the advocates and all the orgs that are helping make this a successful census in 2020.
Hey, thank you, Kyle. Enjoy your day. Appreciate
you
very much. Kyle said, thank you to me. This is easy. I'm just sitting, talking, doing what I do. And my brother once said to me, I can't believe when I was a legislator, you get paid for talking. And he says, well, at least you can do that. So I don't know about that always, but it's fun. And I hope everybody will use their voices. That's the whole idea. Use your voice too. Talk, vote, get counted. And there's a person who I know who uses her voice to say the craziest things. But if you really listen, they make sense. They send a message to us. And Mother Mabel Lean is that person. Mother Mabel Lean, who is a census taker. She does a whole lot of other stuff. There's her real name, LaTasha Featherstone. I just love you so. Listen, she's been busy all across the state, doing a whole lot of stuff, counting folk in some scary places.
That's right.
Doing the hard work that a whole lot of people. I told LaTasha, I know two people in particular who both were hired as census enumerators. One went to training, one didn't, but they both quit before it was time to hit the street. I mean, it's a hard job,
Angela. It's a real job.
It's a real.
It's not easy. We're coming in touch with real people, and let's just keep it real. Sometimes real people are not very nice.
Sometimes real people are not very nice to anybody, and particularly a census taker. I'm going to get you on the back end, but I'm going to bring you up to do your great job, your great thing, and tell us about some of your experiences, whatever you want to share. Everybody, I am so happy to introduce again to this worldwide audience.
Thank you, honey.
My friend, Mother Mabel Lean, who plays any number of roles, but she's going to introduce herself and take some extra time. She's been with us before, and we had to give a little time. Hey, we're doing great on time today, so take as much time as you want, okay?
Okay, honey. Well, thank you. Well, hey, everybody, and the crowd goes wild. Are y'all clapping, honey? Stand up, Oklahoma, and be counted. Teresa Hill said, Mother, how you doing, honey? Thank you for shouting me out. Listen, I am so glad to be here on Today with Together Oklahoma. Our retired Oklahoma State Representative, Angela Monson. Honey, listen, all of these cities in Oklahoma are showing up today and showing out. I especially want to give out a shout out to the gentleman at the Patterson Center in Lawton, Oklahoma. I'm actually Aaron from Lawton today, y'all. Now, you know I live in Oklahoma City, but the people are here. I graduated high school, honey. Yes, I did, right on over at MacArthur. And in my younger days, I was actually in a fashion show at the Patterson Center. So it's bringing back some great memories today, y'all, sitting here and watching you and listening to the conversation. We are in great company for a great cause. Now, y'all know we're talking about the census, and it's very, very, very important, honey, that you all participate and you be counted for your family. Now, somebody asked me, I get a lot of good questions on my Facebook conversations about the census, and I appreciate all of y'all that tap in, but somebody asked me, well, do they ask you for your social security information? No, honey, they don't want that. What they would like is the ages in the home, the genders, the race, ethnicities. They want to know if you rented a purchase. There's different programs and things that all of that can be helpful for. That's why it's important that we get all of that information. So we need you to fill it out. Now, I'm not suggesting that you don't do it, but if you still don't feel comfortable, at the very least, honey, let them know the count in your household and the genders. Let's at least get enough information that we can have a real budget, honey, that belongs to all of us. Teresa Hill, hi, honey. She said, hi, Mother Mabel Lean. I'm so glad you're on here. Listen, let's get things kind of moving a little bit, honey, and go a little further. Y'all already know I got to come in proper style, honey, with my theme song. You already know that. Now, I don't know how well y'all can hear it, but I've made my own studio today. You know what I mean? I'm learning this technology now. Now, my granddaughter done showed me how to get on this tablet and play this song. But right now, honey, this is the intermission period of the program, honey. This is the time, honey, that you go to the restroom. This is the time that you go get another drink or another snack, that you stretch, that you get the energy flowing. Because you know how some of y'all are. You ain't been active in a while. So my friends watching from the nursing home, and you might fall asleep when you go out somewhere to a program. Well, this is the time that you get up and get your blood flowing and moving, honey, so we can talk about this mission and this cause. We are trying to get as many counted as possible. Now, you know, during the intermission, you start taking selfies with your friends. You check in on Facebook, on Snapchat, on Instagram, on Twitter, so everybody knows where you are. So right now, I need y'all to check in. You know how you check in right now on the intermission? Hit that share button, please, and thank you, honey. Hit that share button. Some of y'all being stingy with this good information, and everybody needs to know that they got to be counted by going to my2020census.gov. Now, I'm a comedian. I don't want to hurt no feelings, but you might have rolled the little bus of in the special class, so I'm going to spell it out for you in case you didn't catch that. It's MY2020CENSUS, a period, and then GOV. Let's get to filling it out, honey. There we go. Jessica got it on the screen. Thank you, honey. She does a great job. Great job. Now listen, get your body moving left to right. Let's get that energy flowing, honey. I don't even know how many of you are on here, but let's double these numbers up on the broadcast. Let's double these numbers up on the census. If you follow Mother Mabel Lean, you know we do this thing called the double up, honey. Let me tell you something. It's when we get on one accord about something. It's when we are agreeing that right now, honey, we want to focus in on this mission as a team, and we want to accomplish. So go left to right, hit those hearts. Look, somebody got the dance emojis on there. Hey, hit those thumbs up, those love buttons. For my friends that don't know Facebook, it's the blue button, baby, the red button, and the yellow one. Hit it as many times as your little finger will let you do it, honey. Honey, spraying your finger in the name of the census count and Mother Mabel Lean, honey. We're so glad to be here. I'm proud of y'all. Shout out to all the AME churches in Lawton, to Ardmore, all these cities that showed up on this program today. And I can't think of the young man, y'all. It was Stick something. What was his name, Jessica? Stick the script. That young man was really speaking, honey. We need our young adults and young people to know how important it is. We are not living in a time, y'all, that we can take it lightly. That we've got to do what needs to be done, honey, to hold our legislators accountable. And the way that we hold them accountable is be counted correctly so that they can give us an accurate budget. Come on now. Together, Oklahoma says double up. Come on now. Y'all ready? We're going to go that way as soon as I call it. Y'all ready? Hey. Double up. Watch. Oh, whatever you're doing, honey, do it twice. That means hit that share button twice. Do your census twice. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. That'll be fake numbers. I don't want nobody. Mother is promoting doing something that shouldn't be legal. Hey, come on, y'all. Thank you, Velma Featherstone, for sharing. Hey, double up. We got some folk in here dancing, honey. Now, let me tell y'all something, honey. I have been out in these streets, and listen, I've enjoyed my travel. I worked in Enid on yesterday, Oklahoma. The day before, they sent me to El Reno. They sent me to a little town I hadn't been to before called Calumet, Calumet. The day before, I was in El Reno again in Okarche. Listen, everything is about perspective. Now, I'm an enumerator for the 2020 census, and I count it an honor to help on this mission. Real life out there, honey, with my walker on, honey, not on, but you know what I mean, in hand, trying to make sure that our budget, because remember, it's not just mine or just yours or theirs, it is our budget, okay? But I've been out in these streets, honey, trying to get this count correct, and I'm telling you, you come across a lot of funny things, but perspective is everything. Sometimes I can read notes. Now, y'all know I'm not that good with technology, and I'm not going to pay for the ad-free YouTube. So we're going to let that advertisement play, because we're not going to pay for that, honey. I'm old school. Angela, she's laughing. Listen,
I'm not going to pay for that either. I don't blame you.
Yes, I'm not paying for that. But you know, one of the things I realized, perspective is everything. Sometimes I will go to a person's home, and there will be notes in there that say, person is upset, don't come back. And, I've got the nerve to try those doors anyway, depending upon what it says, what my heart says. And a lot of time I will open the door and just begin with an explanation. I'm so-and-so with the census. This is very important because I thought I would try again. And you know what? They normally say yes. I think that sometimes when we don't know what's going on, I've had so many questions from folks. Do you think they're going to be using this as a way to track us? Well, honey, when you were born and got a social security number, they started tracking. If that's what you're worried about, it's already done. So go ahead and just fill out your census. You know what I mean? So I'm very proud of all of you all. This has been a great initiative. I'm very excited to partner with you and Together Oklahoma and all of these people. And Mother Mabel Lean stands on that. I am even learning how much more important the census is than what I even thought. So this is a great push. Everybody's been working hard this week, honey. I'm seeing it all over, and we got to just keep sharing and keep encouraging those around us to do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. And you in the trenches out there, girl. I got tired of being inside. I just got tired, so I came outside where I could get a little fresh air.
Great background. It looks relaxing.
My papers flew away, so I had to run around with the papers. And I felt like I wonder how census takers feel when they have to run away either after papers for somebody. I mean, you do hard work. It's hard work. You mentioned, those towns and little towns in Oklahoma where you were going. Census Bureau doesn't care who's doing the counting, or they try to put you in your neighborhoods, but sometimes you just got to go where the people are that need to be counted. So
the good thing. I'm sorry. I was going to say the good thing is they actually asked us. So they asked, what they do, I believe, is kind of monitor how you are in your area and kind of based on how well you're doing. So our supervisor asked us if we'd like to be on a travel team. So you do get the opportunity to say if you want to be able. And I was one of those that said, well, send me wherever, because I'll use it as some vacation time or, driving time to clear my mind.
Man, I tell you. I know you've had some crazy experiences out there interacting with folk. Feel like sharing something funny or not so funny?
Actually, I've got a few of them, but I tell you what, one of the most embarrassing moments, and they were back to back one day and then the day after, I was in an apartment complex. I don't move very fast with my walker. And I was hearing somebody saying, open the door. I just got off work, ... And for a while, you could tell the person on the other side of the door was communicating back. And then the person was just kind of talking to themselves. Well, I thought, I don't know what's going on. But eventually my route took me to that building. And honey, when I walked through there, a young man was getting thrown out of the house. And I grabbed my chest because I'm talking about baskets of clothes were outside, comforter. And when he saw me, he tried to lean on the wall casual and start playing a game on his phone. And all I kept thinking was, Lord, please don't let me have to stop at this door, because I'm going to have to say, is it a 1 now instead of a 2? But fortunately, I just had to step over his items and say hello as I was going up to the 3rd floor. And then the very next day, it seems like there's some relationship difficulties going on out here right now. The very next day, we have what you call a proxy attempt, Angela. So they don't just, we're so adamant about getting it. You don't just knock on one door and you're done. You need to do at least 3 proxy attempts. That means a neighbor, somebody that has information, at least 15 years old of age or older. Right. So for the viewers watching, if you have teenagers that are 16 or 17 and you're not home, they can answer these questions. Let them know if a census person comes by, help them out. But I was going to a door and they didn't answer. So I got ready to proxy the home next door, but the person came out. And when the gentleman came out, I said, I'm with the census, did my identification and my information I'm supposed to hand them. And he said, oh, that door right there. Oh, it's one gentleman. And I know it is because I caught my girlfriend there earlier today. And I was like, I said, listen, and I'm not making this up, Angela. He said he wanted me to look at the mud footprints as they went to the door. You know how you don't know how to react to somebody like, I don't he's in a passionate moment, and I don't want to be on the receiving end. If I cut him off, it may make him up. So I kind of just like, and I needed to still listen to the story to get enough information about the guy to tell what his race was and things like that. So I kind of, not that I wasn't feeling sorry for him, but he said she just looked too good going to the car. And this time I followed her. When I knocked on his door, I saw her run behind him in the background. I said, this is horrible, but I'm on the job. So even though it's horrible, I'm saying, now, do you know what does he look like?
I tell you, funny things happen out there. Little scary things happen too. And, you know, we don't want people to think that, you know, it's all funny. And I know you some situations that have been a little scary.
I worked in Okarche area, El Reno, Calumet. So I've been down some country roads where there's only one house every 2 miles and things like that. But I had to go to an RV area. And when I was on the site, you know, you see Confederate flags hanging and things of that nature. And that doesn't necessarily trigger to me that something is racist or going to happen, but you just don't know in today's time. You're already taking a risk as a regular civilian out here anyway.
Right.
And then to be in a position where you're knocking on doors, getting a count, you don't know what response you may receive. I go in love and light, I'm prayed up, and I just kind of say, you know what, I'm going to focus in. And it seems to be that whatever energy I'm giving out, they bring it back to me. You know? A lot of people are afraid of the government. There's an anti-government option on our app that we can use. A lot of people are they don't know. They've seen so many things, and this is of all races and nationalities. They've seen so many things that make them feel like they're not counted, that you have to explain, see, this is one way you can hold things accountable by helping to get a realistic budget. If we tell what the numbers really are, nobody can undercut us. We don't have to be worried about lower education numbers or transportation. So it's a lot, but you're right. It is some situations that can be very uncomfortable. And people feel like you're being, why do you keep having because it's for a purpose. So there's been a couple of them, I'm going to be honest. If it looked a little sketchy, I didn't go. I just noted, I'm not walking up with this locked gate and I know I hear a dog over there.
That's right.
I literally ran from one day. I don't know what I was thinking. I opened the back. There was like a gate surrounding them in an apartment complex. The cutest little dogs laying right there, and they had like a little baby gate or some kind of fence, and they were just kind of wagging and looking. So I thought, well, they look friendly enough. I'm going to go ring the doorbell. One of them was one of those pit bulls, but he was so big he couldn't move fast. Anyway, I got a chance to run away. But I got to that door and rang the doorbell. Let me tell you something. They were smiling and wagging till I got to that doorbell, and that gate knocked over, honey. I've never ran so fast in my life. I know it's restricted access. We're not going to do this one. We'll have to call them.
Have to call. It's like the postal service. Sometimes rain or snow or sleet or whatever. Dogs, but what you're doing is really critical. But it is hard, and it can be dangerous and scary. I'm afraid of dogs. Yes, I must confess. Confession's good.
You never know. You never know what you're going to get.
You just never know where you might be walking into, knocking on people's doors.
Exactly.
So, my hat off to you. I want to bring you back on screen without me for a little bit because I feel always that I cheat you, and you're good. I mean, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but you're good. And we've been rolling your contact information, and I'm going to encourage everybody out there that's looking for, first of all, let me say a kind and a genuine and a loving individual.
Thank you.
That would be you. But if they're looking for some fun and some comedy and all of that stuff, well, go to our website. I looked at some of your Facebook posts, and I mean, they were great. And I don't, again, want to put you on the spot, but we're talking about census and count on people, but you had the little thing on there about people who maybe have babies and shouldn't have babies, and I thought that was the funniest little segment. And I should say shouldn't have babies, not ready to be responsible parents.
I know the one you're talking about. I was saying how you'll come to the school supply drive after you done spent your money all summer, do partying or whatever people are doing, wasting their money, and then when it comes to the kids, they didn't even have little Ray didn't even have a backpack, or whoever, little Susie. Yeah, I liked it. One of the things about my comedy is I feel that I have found that there's always a memory of like a big mama. You know, that memory has kind of gone away as generations are kind of moving on. But for those of us that remember what a big mama was, you really didn't talk back to her. And she would really talk to you. And sometimes it would be stern, sometimes it would be loving, but whatever it was, you would receive it and you would have to just move on and not take it personally. So I feel like I try to do comedy with the cause. And I'd like to tackle the conversations that we don't like to have. You know, we talked about very much on my channel things like, you know, pushing dollars in Black businesses as a customer and a business owner. We've talked about protecting your energy, about gratitude as the go-to emotion. Right. You know, so there's a lot of things. So I appreciate you for plugging that. I want people to know that I do want to make you laugh. I want to make you laugh at yourself. And it might offend you sometimes, but I hope you get so offended that you change it so we won't be talking about you again.
Well, let me ask you, are you comfortable enough of giving us a sample of that, or, you know, giving us a little, you know, maybe 5 minutes or so of what you do?
Absolutely, yes, I will do that for you. Absolutely.
Well, okay, Jessica, I'm gonna disappear. Mother Mabel Lean, you have the show.
Listen, she's got me blushing, y'all. Now I call this a cup of mind your business, because I'm older, and often I have people inboxing and asking me what's in my cup, and I have to tell them none of your business. See, if you know me, or if you don't, let me introduce myself in case you're just tapping in. I'm Mother Mabel Lean, your gangster grandma, and I am raised by the church and raised by the streets. And we get together a few times in the week, so I'm glad that she said that. Now y'all don't know this, but I got to get my theme song. You know, it's something about energy, honey. You got to have your energy together. Oh, there's you okay, baby. My grandpuppy is over here, and he's thinking, who is this old lady? It's throwing him off. He's checking me out and making sure I'm good. But listen, I'm so glad that Angela asked me to take a moment to just talk about some things, honey. I'm Mother Mabel Lean, your gangster grandma raised by the church and by the streets, and I would love for you to follow me on Facebook, honey. My page is listed here on the screen. Please follow. We get together every Monday and every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time for an episode of It Ain't My Business, But If It Was. Now, let me tell you, It Ain't My Business, But If It Was is a podcast in which we talk about real life topics, but we have to laugh sometimes too. So we try to make it not uncomfortable for you, but sometimes in order to grow, you do have to be a little uncomfortable. So we try to challenge your thinking with use of comedy. Now, we've talked about some things that were kind of just straight funny. I had a sugar mama, for example, one time offering to pay me a $400 a week allowance. Can y'all believe that? I've never seen nothing like it in all my years of living. And I had to get your advice from the public. So I came on here and we talked about it on the show. So please make sure you go to my social media handles. Also follow me at LaTasha Featherstone, honey. Featherstone. That's FeatherStone. And yes, I said aura. I'm from that era. Please follow me. Okay, honey? Now, on Wednesday nights, we get together also at 9:00 p.m. Central Standard Time for a meeting of the Red Cup Ministries. Why do we call that Red Cup Ministries? I find that so often we are so busy worried about other people to whereas we're not doing enough to focus in on ourselves. We would be so much more productive, honey, if we kept our eyes on the prize and got aggressive about making ourselves the best person that we can be. Just like on this census, for example, honey. You're worried about what other people are doing, and you haven't taken the first step, some of you, to being responsible and helping your community. Fill out your census. Let me say that again. I know she's giving me some time for myself, but I want you to remember why we are here. Now, every Wednesday night, we have been getting together since the beginning of the pandemic. Next Wednesday will be episode 23, y'all. It was on my heart one evening to come on to the live, and something just said to give. I didn't have much, but I figured if I had $2, I could keep one and give one away to somebody else. So I hopped on the live, and I was going to bless one person, but my spirit said 3. So I said 3. Well, somebody hopped on, one of my friends and business partners, and they said, I'll put $30 on it. I said, okay, we ended up blessing 4 people. Now that night, that person told me, come back and do it again next week. I'm going to make another donation for my organization. And for 23 weeks, shout out to Harvey Hands On with the Renadads, Robert McClendon. Shout out to Mabel Lean and friends, honey. We have successfully been blessing people for 23 weeks. Now, we started this when people was stressed out, losing their jobs, afraid, y'all. It feels so good to be a part of something. And I'm saying I'm a part of it because it is made up by all of my viewers from all over, honey. The other night we tapped in, we had viewers from Atlanta, we had viewers from California, from Texas, honey. We had a viewer from the Caribbean island. We've got a Brazilian follower, London. If you don't know Mother Mabel Lean, honey, I don't know what you're doing with your life. If you're not following me, what are you waiting on, honey? We have a good time. So you come on in at 9:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will have DJ Liddy Hayes on the 1s and 2s, honey. Some of y'all ain't been active for a while. If you're watching from the nursing home, if you're young, you may be doing too much and need to settle down. We're going to level you out. But what we try to do, we don't try to get together and forget that there's problems in the world. Honey, we realize we got census, we got voting, we got bills, we got family, we got issues, we got worries, we got racism, brutality, all kind of things. But when we get together, for that one moment, we all touch and agree that we're going to focus on love, 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 and laughter. Because you have to decompress, y'all. When we get together, it's self-care. It's therapeutic. You can kind of get a little, feel a little PTSD, bipolarish. I'm using it loosely, not as a real diagnosis. With all of the things we see on the news every day, feeling surrounded by death, my gift to you is to serve you a moment to relax, release, and let's just laugh and talk about some real things that not only help me, they also can help you. So please follow. Every Monday and Wednesday, we get together again, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time for an episode of It Ain't My Business, but if it was. And every Wednesday night at 9:00 p.m. Central Standard Time, we get together for Help Somebody Get Over the Hump Day. Now, we play games and we have cash prizes. For example, last week, we had $105 worth of cash prizes. Local business owners have been donating. People have supported and donated to us, and we give away 100% of the proceeds. If you're interested even in putting a prize on our wheel, we have a winning wheel. It's a lot of fun, honey. It's a great opportunity for business owners, their businesses to be seen at the same time that they are providing the community service and making a donation to other people. That is something I'm very proud of, Help Somebody Get Over the Hump Day. I'm very grateful to my friend Harvey Hands On and the Renadads. Now, the Renadads is an organization of 12 African-American men that mentor children in single-parent households. For example, kind of like a big sister, big brother type organization. And so, like, if your child has a daddy-daughter dance or whatever that sort of thing is, they do things like that. If something's broken around the house, now they're based out of Oakland, California, but they'll very soon be opening up a branch here in Midwest Oklahoma. You'll see a lot of things happen with Mabel Lean and friends and them as well. I've got your cup of tea, no matter what you like to drink. I've got something for you in every area, honey. We also have a virtual art gallery that I put together for my great-great-grandbaby back in May. We had Sonny Rice do a live painting. We had performances. Please be looking out. We will be doing our first live art gallery in November, but it will be in Texas. We're going to bring the show to Oklahoma City in December, y'all. It's all focused around a 15-year-old girl that I see a gift in her, and I wanted to highlight that. And this time, we've got some tap dancers, some hip-hop jazz. We've got a lot going on. So Mabel Lean, honey, I'm a comedian, but I'm an activist, definitely an advocate for the performing arts. I'm an entrepreneur. You can catch me for your training and development needs. I'm a corporate girl as well as a creative. So there's probably a few things that I can help you with, but I'm so excited to be here. She asked, and I hope that you choose to follow me and keep up with that information. We've got a lot of good things going on, and we just want to bring you some good vibes. And we'd like to come to a city near you. A lot of my viewers are in different areas. I know Together Oklahoma, even though this is Oklahoma, like my good friend Dejan told me, we should share it with everybody because the census is national. Even though we represent Oklahoma, we want to encourage all of our friends in different states and areas as well to please fill out your census. So if you are in other areas even, please keep doing what you are doing. Let's stay grateful. Let's be kind. And most of all, let's be the change. We are so, it's so easy in this social media age to judge people. You can just sit right and scroll through and look at people's lives. You know, folks put all kind of information out. It's so easy to sit and talk about what people aren't doing. And sometimes you don't realize that you're the one not doing either. So once you find that out, check, pull your coattail or whatever. It's down here, but I'm pulling up here your collar and get yourself in line. Got to fill out this census information, because if we don't, we're not doing what we need to do. Thank you for letting me tell the people a little bit more about myself. I just want them to know that I love what I do, but I'm about the community, and you really will work with somebody that actually cares about people in real life. It's real.
That's what I said earlier. It's real. It's genuine. Excuse me. It shows through. I just appreciate you so very much. And I wanted you to promo what you do. I mean, this is what community is about. Sharing and encouraging. You share your gifts. We share any way we can. We get better. We get stronger together. So that's what Together Oklahoma is about. And I just love you so.
I love you too.
I just appreciate what you're doing, the hard work you do, the laughter that you give to us that warms our heart. For being a part of what we do, Mother Mabel Lean, my friend LaTasha Featherstone.
Yes, and before you get me out of here, Angela, I have to tell you, you are a magnificent leader, because you're giving everybody accolades, but I've got to tell you, you have come in and just kind of like very quickly put together a magnificent program and initiative, and just kind of like really taking the head. I'm very impressed with the fact that your spirit is loving and kind and humble. You are definitely very authentic as well. I hope to partner up with anything I can do as myself or LaTasha, but just know that we are really all touched by your whole energy, your spirit. It is felt. It is definitely felt.
Thank you very much, but it is not just me. Clearly, it's Jessica back there. It's Kyle.
Oh, Jessica, yes. Jessica, thank you.
Oklahoma,
listen, Jessica, she has done great. I'm an old lady. It's been hard getting me on this technology. Whenever I message her, she's quick. Jessica, thank you for working with me.
Yeah. So thank you for saying those nice things about me, but it's really not me. It's not just me. I just do my part. It requires the whole team. And that's really a lesson for all of us. That's why together is so important. It does require the whole team. All of us doing what we can to make the difference. So, whatever your gift is, whatever your part is out there in the world listening, whatever it is at least two things.
That's it.
Get counted in that census.
Yes, please.
If you're old enough to vote, make sure you're registered and vote. And if you're not old enough to do any of those things yourself, get some grown people
That's it. That's it. Share it on your social media. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Mother Mabel Lean, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Bless you, my friend. Bless you.
Have a good day, honey.
Thank you. So, okay, we're getting close to the end, but this time went by so fast. We got 3 more important people we want to bring on. I'm just going to bring them up, and we have a few minutes. We'll bring you up, maybe take it down, but everybody in the studio, stay in that studio. So I think we got Donna Thompson up somewhere. Donna, if you're up, yeah, she's ready to roll. Come on in here, girl. Donna, I mentioned you earlier. She's over at Outwell. Tell us what you got going on. Tell us who you are and what you got going on.
I am Donna Thompson, and I am the prison ministry director for the Oklahoma Baptist State Convention. And I have several people here with me. We're doing voters registration and encouraging everyone who has not to sign up for the census. We're giving out that information. We'll be here until 4 p.m. I do want to say thank you so much for all of the work that you're doing. And for the listening audience, please make sure you fill out your census. If you have not registered to vote, please do so. In Oklahoma, we are actually targeting a population of people who have felony convictions to educate them on their rights to register and vote, and also educate them about signing up for the census. So we're all out here. We have a lot of people coming in and out. For the listening audience, again, please, please, please complete your census. Again, this is Donna Thompson. We're with the Oklahoma Baptist State Convention Prison Ministry, and there are several different churches and people out here that's helping out. And it's actually a wonderful thing because people who had good intentions that had not voted or either completed their census, they're glad that we're right here so they can go ahead and take care of that.
So you are in the thick of the community. We know where you are, Otwell's grocery store, right there by, for those who might not know, near Douglas High School. Used to be Kennedy Junior High School when I was a student. Now it's Moon, right there off of Martin Luther King. But I want you to take another second, Donna, and tell us about, can people who have been convicted of felonies vote in Oklahoma?
Yes, actually they can. And that's one of the messages that we're trying to get out. In Oklahoma, you can register and vote with a felony conviction after you have completed your entire sentence. So let me do better with that by giving an example. If you get convicted in 2001 and you say you get 4 years, in 2005, because that's 2001 plus 4 years, then you're eligible to register and vote. Many people think that they're not eligible to register and vote, but the formula itself, so that anybody who's interested in actually registering to vote, finding out if they're eligible, is to take the date of conviction. Most people know when they got convicted, when the judge says, I sentence you to, and then whatever that number is that he gives you, then you have to wait all calendar days for that. So it doesn't have anything to do with anything but the date of conviction plus the number of years the judge gave you. So again, if the judge gives you 2 years, date from the day that you get convicted, in 2 years, that
You
next
can
day you
vote.
can register and vote. If he gives you 7 years, after that date of conviction, that's when it starts. Date of conviction, that's 7 years you can register and vote. And I do want to express to people out there, there are many people because our state, we're number one actually in the world per capita for women incarceration, and number four for men, give or take. We go kind of back and forth, but that means that we have a whole lot of people who've been
That's right.
convicted and they do not know that they can register and vote because most people have always thought that once you become a felon or have a felon, that you cannot register and vote. So I'm here to tell you, I'm down at Otwell's on 10th Martin Luther King, and we're going to be here. But I'll go as far as to say, this is so important to me that I want you to call me. Call me at 405 209 6750. Again, that's 405 209 6750. If you have any questions about that, because all elections are important, but this is really, really important. I also want to share that there's a misunderstanding about deferred sentence. You never lose your right to register and vote with a deferred sentence. It is not a conviction. So if you have a deferred sentence or you received a deferred sentence, don't worry about any of that. Go ahead and register. And if you got one, just continue to vote. And those of you, we actually registered a guy here who's 17 and a half. He'll be 18 in October. So we registered him right on time. So he'll get his card in October and he can vote in November. In Oklahoma, you can register and vote at 17 and a half. The thing about it is he'll turn 18 just prior to the election. So that's a great thing. So come on out. If you haven't registered, come on out. If you haven't completed your sentence, come on down. We're right on the corner of Martin Luther King and Northeast 10th Street. And just come on out and join us, come out.
That's good. Thank you. Donna, you are a stalwart. You've been working hard for as long as I've known you. In the midst of your own personal struggles and issues, you still stay out there working hard. Bless you. Bless your family. I'm just proud of you. Glad to know you. Just like everybody else who's popping up. Jana got a question. Can folks in the county jail who have not been convicted of a felony vote absentee?
Yes. Yes,
The
ma'am.
answer is
Yes,
yes.
yes, ma'am. And the thing that I have to be perfectly honest about you, due to COVID, we you have to contact the county to make arrangements for that. But yes, they can because they have not been convicted of. They have not been convicted. Now, they can't have anything prior to that's still hanging over, or on probation or anything like that. If they have not been convicted, they can register to vote. And you would actually, when I speak of that, they have to have it notarized. If they have to have it notarized or need a copy of the ID, you want to go through all of the process in order to go ahead and get that done. And remember, we need to go ahead and deal with that because we only have until October the 9th to get that information in, if we're going to register them first. And then after that, to submit the mail-in ballot after they have actually completed their application. So again, if you guys have any questions, 405-209-6750. And I have just a lot of people here that are just helping me make a difference.
If you just want to just pan so we can see them, we're gonna Colette, get ready because we're gonna go to you and talk about what the links are doing. Donna, do you want to show any of your friends on camera?
Okay, I think I can do that. Hey y'all, hey, come on, Julie, y'all say hello, say hi, say hi. Can y'all
Thanks,
see
guys.
us?
Thanks for working hard. Thanks,
All right.
thanks, Donna. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for working hard. Stay in the studio because we're gonna be at the very end. Whoever's still in the studio, we're gonna bring you back and just let the people see you and acknowledge your hard work again. But keep doing it, Donna. Great information. Donna's a wealth of information to empower people who have had relationships, instances with the criminal justice system. We do not lose our rights just because this is a democracy and your voice is still valuable and worth hearing. So thank you, Donna. Stay with us in studio.
Can I just say one more
You
thing?
certainly can.
Let me just say this right here. Now, all of the information I gave you is correct, but if you get a pardon, the pardon supersedes everything that I've said. If you get a pardon, you're eligible to register and vote just as soon as they give it to you. But the
That's
rest of the
important.
information is, that's important. So
That's
I
good
want you guys,
information.
and you guys are doing a great job. I've been watching all since last Sunday and learning stuff myself and all of that. So keep on doing what you're doing. And y'all get on down here. If you're in Northeast Oklahoma City or in the area, need to register to vote, need to fill out your census, need some help with that, come on down here. Actually, it's called Cash Savers, but we all know it is out there. Y'all know
That's right.
right?
I wonder what that new name was, Cash Savers. Thank you, Donna. Thank you so very much. And she said it, get on down there wherever you are. These events are happening all across the nation, guys. So if you're streaming from another state or wherever, find a place right now this day in your community, register to vote, complete your census. Make sure somebody who has not completed their census does so. So we're grateful for the work that everybody is doing. We're grateful for some real community groups who generally are focused on community-based social activism, community-based partnerships, doing what they know they need to do, also having fun at the same time. One of those groups is called the Links. I hope Colette is with us. Colette is president of the Oklahoma. There she is, Colette Houchin, president of the Oklahoma City chapter of the Links Incorporated. And I'm just so happy to be able to partner with them. That's just a demonstration of how organizations like the Links and our fraternities and our sororities, organizations that people might not view as civil rights organizations like the NAACP and Black Lives Matter, who's also partnering with us in this effort. But they really are. Organizations like the Links and our sororities and fraternities truly are organizations that promote civic engagement. And the Links have been working hard. So Colette, tell us a little about what your organization's been doing and what some of your plans might be.
Okay. Good afternoon, Angela. We are so pleased to be working with Together We Count. The Links Incorporated was founded in 1946 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we are committed to improving the lives of African Americans in our community. We are friends making a difference in our community. And we've been so busy here lately. We've been busy getting people to complete their census through calls, through text. Our national organization is committed to this. We are committed to registering voters. Our chapter has an 18 to 29-year-old voter challenge. We have registered voters at PC North on the last day that they were picking up their diplomas. We registered over 110 young people. We are impressing upon them that they need to be registered to vote. We are nonpartisan, but it is so important for them to be registered to vote and to be civically engaged. The Links have a long history of civic engagement. Today, in addition to being involved with the census and with voter registration, we had our 25th annual walk for healthy living. So we started off this morning at the Oklahoma Health Department track with a warm-up, and we are out here making sure that we're healthy and that our community is healthy.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of the Links chapter. My little niece, Nicole, is a very active Links member in New Jersey. And I get a chance through her to see some of the activities across the nation. And you're absolutely right. These organizations that are historical organizations for our communities that had to be involved in civic engagement, that had to engage in the hard work to make sure that our voices as African Americans and other disenfranchised populations had an opportunity to participate, to vote. So the health piece is so critical right now, that we take care of our bodies, that we be aware. I know you guys were out in Norman as well earlier this week.
Yes, we were. We were at OU on the South Oval. We were also on Campus Corner. And in addition to our voter registration, we had a census representative there helping us with the community at on the South Oval. Campus Corner. So we are working hard, and we are committed to improving the lives in our community. And we understand the importance of us not being counted. We have to be counted. We need this county we need to be included in all decisions for healthcare, for education, for our roads in our communities. And you know how our roads are here in Oklahoma. We need to be able to be represented. We need, when we're redistricting, when we're doing everything, we need our voices to be heard. So the census is most important because it enables us to be heard and counted.
That's absolutely right. You got it. You're absolutely right. And I'm going to tell you, the Links are working hard. I mentioned earlier about this competition. And, again, nothing wrong with a little friendly competition. We all want to get to the finish line and we want to be there successfully. But, as I mentioned earlier, there's a $1,000 first place prize out there for that community organization that's making most contacts. We kind of changed the rules. I hope you read my email, make it easier and to recognize your hard work. We were going to count how many people completed the census. But you know what? You are working hard trying to talk to, I hear Donna out there working hard, trying to talk to people, trying to say, do the work, do it, fill out these forms, register to vote. So we're honoring everybody's hard work. And so get those points, girl, get those points and get that money for the link so you can do more things for our community and for people who really need help. So everybody, if you're interested in how we're putting together this campaign, if you're a community organization, the census may go to October 31. The campaign may end up going to October 31. We're not sure how that's going to work quite yet, but go to the Together Oklahoma webpage and there'll be contact information and we can certainly include you in this effort. So I'm just proud of the Links chapter here in Oklahoma City and the hard work that you're doing and all your members that are engaged. We're scrolling your Facebook page. So if anybody is interested in learning more or becoming a part of, we encourage you to go to that Facebook page, learn more and get some contact, make that contact with Colette and other leaders in the chapter. Colette, don't go far because we're nearing just a few minutes until the end. We're going to put you back in studio. And before we leave, we're going to ask if all of those folk we've been talking to are still around, sign back in, come back into the studio because we want to see your faces on the screen. Roxanne is here. Excuse me, I stepped outside and those allergies are getting me. We talked to Roxanne earlier today from Ardmore, and she's back with us. Hey, Roxanne, where are you now? Can she hear
Hi,
me?
Angela. I am at the Ardmore Public Library, and the census people will be here until 5 o'clock. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Great. So
yeah, I have worse internet here than I did this morning, so I don't know what the problem is. But anyway, we are wrapping up Ardmore Census Week, and the census people will be here until 5. They will be at Casa Romo until 4. So if you have not had a chance to do your census, you still have opportunities to go see either one of these locations. And hopefully, by the time the week is over, we'll end up with about 200 census completed this week. Also, I want to mention that everyone who has entered or completed their census this week has been given a ticket, and those tickets are going to be entered in a lottery, and I will be drawing the winning tickets Monday, 10 o'clock at the Ardmore Chamber of Commerce.
All right, I need to get a ticket.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. And the internet is good. There may be a little delay. So just hang tight with us. Roxanne, you got a question about any Carter County women assisting today? Maybe, I don't know if you know Jenna Lewis Harkins. She's my good friend. She's very active in the.
Yeah. So
Roxanne says, yes, Janet, there are.
I am just out here all by myself. But we, as soon as the census is over, we are going to start on a big push to get everyone registered to vote, since we only have until October 9th to get all that done. So as soon as the Ardmore Census Week is over, that will be my focus.
Good. Thank you, Roxanne. Stay on screen. Don't go away. We're going to start bringing folk up, and we're going to give away 2 more gift cards. We've got about 5 minutes before we're going to go off air. So, Jessica, start working your magic. Jessica's multitasking. Let me just say this about this young woman who is not only is she skilled at technology, I mean, mega skills, way beyond my comprehension for sure. She's so even and smooth and easy to work with. I just love her. So you enter this contest. I'm looking at these notes by making your comments on screen. So make your comments on screen, and Jessica's gonna pull somebody up, and a couple of names. You're gonna pull 2 names up, and so she's doing that. She's gonna bring back Roxanne on screen, Colette on screen. Donna, if you're still on screen and can hear us, re-enter the studio. Jacoby, if you're anywhere. Kyle, Tucker, Mother Mabel Lean, if you're still around. Anybody who's still around, come on back and join me on screen right now. Okay, Teresa Hill, you win a gift card, our 4th winner. We're going to get one more up real quick, too. There you are, Teresa. You got your gift card, and it's important. These cards are, it's not enough to compensate you guys. And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to drive a lot of sharing of this video. And let me say too, that once we go off air, these videos are there and available for anybody to look at any time. Pull Tucker's segment out, pull Kyle's, pull any of these segments out. Show them again to your group, your organizations. Share them on your Facebook pages. Do some things that our message is heard over and over and over again. We're going to get another winner out. Jessica, I hope there's some people still in our studio that can join us on screen. I don't want to be the only one to say bye. After we get our 5th winner, we're going to get one more winner up here. I think I've got everybody. Let me go back from the beginning as we're doing this to acknowledge Teresa Hill and Deborah Davis and the crew, Patricia Woodward with Census Bureau, Judge Alicia Timmons, Reverend Christine Bird. I hope I didn't miss anybody at Fairview. I'm an old lady working from my memory. Brandy and Jacoby and Watton, thank you so very much. Tucker, who's from Oklahoma, Tulsa, but down in Texas, who joined us. Of course, Roxanne, who's a great representative of what social advocacy looks like. My friend Cheryl, I hope you're still on here somewhere with the AME churches and all of the crew that was right on the corner at 23rd and Martin Luther King. Donna and her crew who are still, there's winner number 5, Velma Featherstone. Thank you. You're a winner of the gift card. That last and final gift card goes to Miss Velma Ellis Featherstone. Roxanne again, Colette and the Links and all of her members, and all the other organizations who work really hard with us to make this campaign a success. Jessica, if you can bring folk up, I don't know, send me a note if I'm the only one in the house. There are some people, good, they're coming up. Yeah, I don't know who else is out there. I just didn't want to be the only one to sign off. I just want to say thank you personally to all of you who are out there in the trenches doing the hard work, and encourage you to keep doing it. You make the difference. Those of you who are hearing us and seeing us online, pick up the gauntlet. Do your part, as little as registering to vote and then vote. Filling out that census, encouraging others to do the same. Don't feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Maybe just the weight of your house, the weight of your neighborhood. Your neighbors know you. They'll open the doors for you. Encourage them to register. Encourage them to do the census. So you can be an activist in your own right. It doesn't take forever. You don't have to be the next Dr. Martin Luther King. It would be great if you were. But social advocacy, social action begins right where we are, reaching and touching and connecting with people who we see and talk to every day. So to those of you who are on the screen, again, thanks for joining us. Jessica, thank you, Kyle, to Together Oklahoma Policy in Tulsa. Yes, Miss Donna.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want you to see our sister person. Can you see her?
Hi, Marie, is that you?
She said,
That's you. All right. Thank you for coming. That's another U.S. Census Bureau person who's committed and dedicated, went above and beyond. I know some of these people are supposed to be off payroll.
Go ahead.
I'm glad you did, because we want to recognize her and Patricia and folk down in Ardmore and in Lawton from the census who are working with us. I just love you so.
I can't hear you.
All right. Marie cannot hear us. All right. Well, we got you. Back down at Outwell. She's down there looking beautiful at Outwell Super Saver or whatever it is near 10th and Martin Luther King. Well, time is up. Jessica and everybody, you card winners, make sure you communicate with Jessica. Roxanne, thank you. Colette, thank you. Donna and Naree, thank you. Everybody else, have a blessed day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.